Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Regina and Friends Crime Chat. Tonight we have a very special live stream, and we have some very special guests. And if you will give me just one moment, I am in the process of getting that set up right now, getting these links to my panel guest. Um, okay. Oh, did I send it? Oh, gotta hit center, enter. There we go. There we go. Alrighty. So I think I've got that sent. Let me just do this real quick. Uh, Sorry, I was on a phone call with one of our special panel guests tonight. There we go. Here we go. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hey, Gil.
Hey, hey.
So give me 1 second. I have to get this live stream sent out in the Discord.
Okay.
Um, so it starts getting shared and stuff. 1 second. Um, we were on the phone and I kind of got a little behind on what we were supposed to be doing. Up and there's Mr. Wilby.
Uh, Gina,
Okay,
what's
1 second.
estimated starting time?
We're starting right now, Wilby. We're
Okay,
here.
I've messaged. I may mute while I'm in here, and I've messaged Tia, LFT, Lady V, and I told them if they come.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Wilby. I
Hello,
have
Jennifer.
Hi.
I've never met you. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
So I just got back from the pharmacy. Daggone it. I've been running 100 mile an hour the last 30 minutes because I knew this was getting close.
yeah.
Tell
So
me your game plan?
so this is Jennifer and her husband Gil Brazil,
Okay.
and they are Trip Brazel's parents.
Trip
And
Razzle.
Brazil.
uh-huh.
Regina always
Brazil.
says Brazzle. She likes Brazzle.
That's what everybody calls
Okay.
It's so
Yeah.
pretty. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. She likes Brazzle. She says it's prettier. So
It sounds like razzle dazzle
I
brazzle.
know.
it. As weird as it is, it's
It
Irish.
sounds like one of those trick plays on a football team. We're gonna run the
Yeah.
razzle
Right.
dazzle
Yeah.
right now, round left in on two.
Yep.
Right. Oh, I just want to give a shout out to some of the people in chat already. We have Eddie. Well, the thing is, he is another content creator. And then we have Lucia Williamson. It is so good to see you. Blessings. Um, Gil, would you like to give everyone a little bit of rundown in your expertise with law enforcement before we begin our segment tonight on this girl's case?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, hang on just a second. Let me turn my phone off. Uh, I started my career out in Forest City Police Department as a patrolman. Then I moved up to CID, and from CID, I went to the state police, and from the state police, I went to the DEA. So I've been an investigator my entire police career. Uh, a
Wow.
firearms specialist, firearms instructor. Also, I taught a bunch of classes. So I mean, as far as the ballistics, I can tell you if it's something to do with the gun, I can just about tell you if it's right or wrong. Uh, as far as
The way things are supposed to
the
go.
way things are supposed to go, I know the chain of command, how it's supposed to be done, and I can tell you if you're getting roadblocked or not. Uh, but that one case that we was talking about earlier, Regina, that I need some names. I know you can't put them out here on this chat, but I will help you with that all I can. And I've still got a lot of contacts in law enforcement, a lot of friends. Some of my friends have moved on to be sheriffs and higher up. And matter of fact, my partner, he's an FBI agent now. He done a lateral transfer to the FBI once we come out from undercover, and I just got out. And I had a young family, and they had me all over the United States, and I had to go. But I still, I'm still a cop in heart, and I'm still pro blue if it's done right.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
But after COVID and everything, these police departments are hiring whoever has got a pulse because all of the good cops are gone. Uh, I hate to say it, but they COVID just literally pushed all the good officers off the streets, and they retired or just moved on to different professions. Uh, but I've done homicides, I've robberies. I've done a little bit of everything as far as police work goes.
Yeah.
Drugs was my forte for the biggest, a lot of times. But of course, what comes along with drugs always is guns, and guns is always murder, and it's just so on and so on.
Yeah.
All right. I agree with that.
Continuous circle
Just
or
a
cycle.
circle. That's right. That's what I tell everybody all the time: is sex, drugs, and money. That's what it makes a vicious circle. And 90% of the time, when that's involved, there's usually a dirty sheriff or somebody protecting them. 99% of the time.
I was telling Regina about that yesterday. I can't believe she got you because, I mean, you like what we were talking about, whether it's anything to her or not. You're the expert who can.
If we can get the sponge trail cases, if y'all can get those, I can get them in my. All I gotta have is a magnifying glass, and I can
Right.
tell if they was fired from the same gun or not.
All right.
But we
And that's what the Jarek. That's what the Jarek Holder and Donald Williams case that we've been talking about. But
We're going to do Jessica's Kemp.
tonight what we're here to talk about is the Jessica Paige Kemp case, and there is a creator. First of all, the first thing I'm going to do is let me pull this up really quick because Jessica Paige Kemp went missing on May the 5th of 2025, last month.
oh,
She called 911 and reported that someone was crawling around at the bottom of her car, under her car and stuff,
right.
and that someone was in her campsite, you know.
Okay.
So, officer, I do believe it was Tidwell or Tidman. I can't remember the exact name. I don't have the report right in front of me. But he was called out to Ashball Lake. There's a little camping area right there, right? Hold on
Right.
just a moment, please. Wilby, would you like to keep engaged for just a second and chat?
Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing the initial thing was that girl called. She said there was someone underneath her car, which was kind of odd description.
Right.
Right.
And Regina will have something to add later. I'm gonna let her do that. But your first reaction when I heard it was, it might have been a hallucinate. Maybe someone's out there been on meth, or and all these are assumptions that could be totally wrong.
Right.
But nothing came of it, and they called an ambulance. She said she was also hallucinating.
Right.
Now, we looked at a video the other night, and then about midway through, they said the officers had finally decided to release her under some kind of, and I heard it, but I didn't write it down. Some law enforcement something determined she was okay. They also had called an ambulance, and it was about an hour and a half away, they said, and it got halfway there, and they turned it back. So all that just sent my red alert went up like, hey, that don't make sense. You don't.
Yeah, if she was hallucinating and all of that, by law, should have been to a mental facility for a 72 evaluation, whether
they thought she was fine or not.
not.
I'm glad we got you because you know what I don't know. I mean, my red alert goes off, but I don't know all the regulations. But it just didn't. It absolutely wasn't in regulations. I knew somehow or way.
Right. Yeah, that right there. There's no one in the ambulance service that can make that decision. It actually has to be done by a psychiatrist, and by law, they have to go to a psych, a psych.
Yeah, to get a link to evaluation.
Right.
And generally, that's a 72-hour hold. Around here, it's a lot of times it's a 72-hour hold on some of them things at
It's
least.
Yes.
all
It's a
72-hour
yes. It's
hold north to
72
Yeah.
south.
hour.
Exactly.
But that
Okay.
just threw red flags off in my head, and
It does, right? Right. But see, here's the thing. There's a phrase that my father always told me. And it was one of those phrases that sticks with you, your whole life. And it was anything can happen once, twice is a coincidence, three times it's a pattern,
Right.
right? So
Fact.
here's the whole thing. We have, and that's part of the reason y'all are here tonight, is because of your son's incident with law enforcement and him ending up deceased in the woods.
Yeah.
Right.
This seems to be a little bit of a pattern here in Arkansas, in Northeast Arkansas, and Central Eastern Arkansas, especially, right? Only the thing is every one of these three cases that we're about to, that we're talking about, these people all were literally involved with police
Yep.
right before they
They
were found dead in the woods under odd circumstances.
yeah.
Things that didn't add up in the cases.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I've done some investigation, Miss Regina.
Hmm.
They've got one medical examiner over at Little Rock at State Police Headquarters.
Hmm.
They say if he reads the report and there is a cop involved, he bleeds blue. He will cover for them. I've been told that by several of my buddies that was retired state police officers. Uh,
Right.
uh, Crime lab over there is a joke. I've
remember,
dealt with them. Uh, they held our son's autopsy for 5 months before they concluded that it was suicide, and then they sent us half of the autopsy. They didn't even send us a whole autopsy.
Right. Yeah.
But all
So
but what you saw,
so and we are going to do a full interview in live on Trip
that'll be awesome.
and his case, and we're going to go over everything, the evidence that we have from the state side and everything that y'all have provided that I see contradictions in and stuff like that.
Right.
But the thing is it's not one case, it's not two cases, it's not
Right.
three cases. You can find multiple cases like this. And whether the problem is extending from these cops are going out and not, giving these people who are having problems the attention they actually need and getting them help, or whether it's to the circumstance that this is corruption to the point of nefariousness, right? It's happening, right?
It happened. Right.
It's
something's
happening.
not right.
Something's not right. And I'm going to tell you something about the state crime lab. We all know evidence goes missing from the Arkansas State Crime Lab.
Yep.
Every
It
day.
happened. It happened in the West Memphis 3 case.
Yep.
Yes.
It happened. Evidence was mixed up in. Well, I know evidence was lost in a gun went missing with the serial killer Robert Brashers that I encountered.
Right.
Um, and then we have. I mean, it's a history that goes back 20 years of evidence coming up missing from this crime lab and getting switched and everything else.
Yep.
And what's fun,
And
same people that's been there for the past 20 years.
You think they'd get fired or get moved out somewhere, passed on? They
I,
keep them in the same position. That's crazy.
that's
Well, right, but see, the thing is whenever you try to bring up these cases with the public and stuff, what's going on is these cops try to silence people,
that's right.
Yes, they do.
They do.
or they will withhold evidence from families.
Yes.
And this is a pattern I have to agree because I've seen it for myself in multiple cases.
Yep.
Um, y'all know I deal with multiple other families,
Yep.
Right.
and I've seen multiple things happen in cases with my own two eyes. I've witnessed it.
Right.
Right.
I've seen evidence go to one parent when it was supposed to go to another.
Exactly.
Um, so I think there needs to be reform. I
Yep.
think there needs to be reform in our crime lab. I think we need a new facility, and I think there needs to be new procedures put in place for evidence handling.
Yep.
Because it's obviously being mishandled. Obviously.
They're going to have to legislate some kind of oversight for these, these little county labs out all across. I mean, and it can't be that police can't police their own. Sometimes they're going to hate that, but if you want,
Exactly.
you're going to have full transparency. You're going to have a federal agency or something come in
Yep.
twice a year, do an inventory, blah, blah, blah. It either works or it don't. Figures don't lie, and liars figure.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
St. Francis County, I've already made the calls. They're fixing to have to produce some stuff because we're trying to get a federal audit started on this county now. They got audited by Alita here a few months ago, right after all we got the autopsy and everything back.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna tell y'all this. Since 2011, 2012, when you went to Camden, when you went to Alita, to Arkansas Law Enforcement Training Academy, it used to be when you went through there, if you couldn't run, they tried to make you quit. It was kind of like
SEAL
boot
team
camp
or something.
Yeah, SEAL training. Now, nobody wants to be a cop anymore, and they're just pushing them through. If they can't pass the test, they're letting them take the test numerous times. They're not kicking them out. They're not doing it the old school way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting a bunch of trash. What they're getting is a bunch of people that got picked on in high school, and and they're giving them badges. And once they do that, they think they're God.
They finally got a little power and they abuse it.
That's
If
right.
it's easy for them to fall right into that.
And
Yeah, it's easy.
that's been going on since 2011, 2012. And I mean, like I said, I was a cop, and I'm still pro police to a point. If they're right, they're right. If they're wrong, they're wrong. But they got to start getting. That's just like St. Francis County not doing psych exams now. I just heard about that today. That is absolutely nuts. Now, they have no policy and procedure manual. That's even more nuts. I mean, any department you go to, you should have a policy procedure manual, and that officer has to sign for it. He takes it home, and then he's got to come back and sign it on the bottom of it, stating that he understands the policy and procedure on homicides or whatever, because it's just like arson.
Without a policy, there's no standardization, and without
Exactly.
standardization, things don't run smoothly. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yes.
It's just that simple.
Well,
so I completely I agree with you on that.
right.
But for the sake of the audience, you guys, if it's okay, because y'all have had dealings with police and law enforcement in your son's own case.
Right.
The last case I covered, we shared recordings of law enforcement telling families their case was going to get closed, et cetera, and the way, law enforcement treats families in these cases, right?
Yeah.
But so I'm going to get to this video, and I'm going to play a little bit of it, and then we're going to talk about it as we go along.
Okay.
And then I'm going to pull up the news report from when she was missing, because there's something very interesting they did in Jessica Paige Kemp's case. They said there was no foul play suspected before they ever found her.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show that to y'all, but I'm also going to play a clip of the testimony from, and it's going to be a little fast because I'm going to speed it up, but I'm going to play a little bit of the statement from her brother.
Okay.
And for everyone, listen, this is One Crime TV with Mr. Black. I just put the link in the description below. I'm not going to be playing the full video because I highly respect Mr. Black, but he did do an interview with the brother, and I think that some of the things that he said were pertinent. The link to this video of Mr. Black's is in the description below the video already. I've put it in there. Please go over there, give him a thumbs up, and tell him I sent you. I would greatly appreciate it.
All right.
And so we're going to be reviewing a little bit of Mr. Black's video, not the whole thing, but just some of it. And I'm going to speed it up a little bit. That way we can get through it, because it is 38 minutes long, and I'm trying to keep this down to an hour and a half live. So with that said, you guys, I'm going to play some of this and get you guys up to speed. Okay.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Since May 25th of 2025. This is Jessica Paige Kemp. She goes by Paige, and she's been missing from Paragould, Arkansas since May 25th of 2025. The last time anyone made physical contact with her was shortly after she placed a distress call to 911 while camping solo near the wildlife management area adjacent to Lake Ashbaugh in northwest Greene County, Arkansas. According to a post on the
That is only 37 miles from my house.
Wow.
Lord.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, nuts.
Greene County Sheriff's Department Facebook page. Paige had made the call because she believed someone or something was under her car. When the deputy, who the county claims was trained in crisis prevention, arrived at the site, he learned that Paige had recently stopped taking medication that she used to treat mental health issues. After he had a conversation with her, it was determined that she didn't meet the criteria to be taken into custody under the Crisis Intervention Trained Officers Act 423 of 2017. The county claims the deputy advised Paige that she should follow up with her doctor regarding her mental well-being. The Greene County Sheriff's Post went on to claim that Paige wasn't reported missing by family members until the 14th of May, which was 9 days after her distress call was made. Once the missing persons report was filed, the Sheriff's Office claims they responded back to the campsite to investigate immediately. Before the Post listed out a detailed yet admittedly not all-inclusive timeline of their investigation, they decided to list some other details about Paige, which they say they discerned early on. Firstly, they claimed Paige had a known drug addiction. While it's true she was battling with an addiction to amphetamine, I think it's important to clarify that Paige wasn't what you would call a known drug user. A known drug user is someone I typically associate with some kind of criminal record. Paige doesn't have one. It doesn't appear she was ever arrested. I think it's fair to...
Does that sound familiar, Wilby? With the mental health
I mean, they
automatically from Jump Street?
They want to make them sound crazy and just strung out right off the bat. And then to look at her picture,
She's
No.
I'm sober for a good while now, and you're not gonna fool me. She just doesn't look strung out to me.
No.
No, she's
I could be
girl.
wrong. I'm just telling you, but she looks healthy. She
Yep.
looks.
happy.
That's not to say she didn't use drugs still, but she's not. She didn't look. She's by no means, in my mind, an out of control, running around stealing, thieving, drug
Yeah.
addict.
She's not a
Well-
she's not a full blown geeker.
Yeah, no, she's not.
Yeah.
No, not by any means. So, but if you'll notice, do y'all remember the Anthony Shane Scott case, Wilby, that I covered?
Man.
No, I can't. Not offhand.
Okay, well, they did the same thing to him as soon as he went missing.
Yes.
They said that he had schizophrenia, which I happen to personally know his family and have seen his medical history. He was not schizophrenic.
They want to tear down
The character of
the
someone.
character of someone to make them look bad to push the case through.
That's right.
It's starting to feel that way.
It's
It
like their
really,
go-to
really is.
playbook.
Right.
Right.
Sometimes, I mean, you
Yeah.
hate to think that you like to think they were telling the truth here and there, and they are, but it just
Well, the
it
two
is what
most
it is.
used charges and in law enforcement is suicide and disorderly conduct. It's easier to do paperwork on a suicide than it is a homicide because they actually have to work on a homicide. I've seen some stuff that's made my stomach turn, and that's the main reason I'm not in law enforcement anymore. I'm not gonna say any names or where it was at, but I worked a case one time where a guy was supposedly killed himself and shot himself in the back of the head now with a 270 rifle.
Okay.
How is that possible?
Well, without a rope, I mean, it'd be an apparatus you'd have to construct, I would think.
You would
but,
have to construct a device too.
I mean, a rope through. I don't know, and that's just even crazy. Who's going to go through all that? That's just how do they swallow that though? The DA and the law enforcement, and not just throw up.
Yeah.
I don't understand it because there was a 9mm pistol loaded in his nightstand. I mean, if you was gonna kill yourself, you would have picked the gun out of the nightstand and shot yourself.
Right.
He shot in the back of the head. And what was crazy about the whole situation is he was in the bedroom dead, and the rifle was probably 20 or 30 foot away from it. And they said that was the recoil off the gun. I said, no, you
You
can't
can't throw a gun that far. How's it going to recoil that far?
Exactly. Yeah, if he shot himself in the back of the head, it hit the floor and fell over right beside him.
That's right. Well, I don't know that. I ain't experienced that, but I've shot rifles. They ain't going to jump and go out. 10 feet out in front of you.
Well, we see cases all the time. I'm trying to think of her name, but that girl from up north, they said she stabbed herself in the back of the head over 20 times and committed, and actually
Debbie
severed her
Collier?
spine. They say she actually severed her spine, right? in
Yeah.
a self-attack and continued to stab herself after she would have been paralyzed
You
from
remember the Debbie
having her
Collier case
incline.
in Georgia where they said she went out in the woods and unalived herself, set herself
Hmm.
on fire, and that's the craziest thing. I still don't believe that, but
I
whatever.
mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen videos, crazy people do
Yeah.
stuff like that, but
Uh,
typically, whenever someone does something like that, they're doing it in an outrage
Right.
to be seen kind of way. It doesn't sound like, I don't know, just going in the woods and dousing yourself and lighting yourself on fire without an audience. Just like, who wants to suffer? Like martyrs lit themselves on fire. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Martyrs.
that's a painful
Um,
way to go.
That's a
right,
political statement, usually.
And
right.
I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, it's just crazy some of the things that they're doing. I mean, it's just like on our case, autopsy showed.
We're not going to talk about that right now, though.
Okay, but well,
Okay.
I'll just say this: he supposedly hung himself when he didn't have a hangman's fracture.
Yeah, yep. And we're gonna go over that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go over that because we have doctors that question your
Yep,
son's
Yes.
there,
findings.
several of
So, but with that said, in this case that we're talking about right now, the
Jessica.
police have come out and said she's a known drug addict. Well, but not to anyone other than maybe her family. So how can they just automatically throw it out there? Hey, drug
them.
addict over here. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what it feels like they're doing in all of
Yeah,
these.
I don't see how they would have enough information
Right.
to make that thorough of an assessment. Uh, they can you can make blanket statements with our knowledge, blah blah blah. But they actually like they've been knew everything about her. I just don't. It's hard for me to
Right.
believe.
He didn't have a criminal record.
So,
Without having a criminal record,
You don't know anything about them.
yeah, I mean,
uh-huh.
you
Right.
Exactly.
You wouldn't come
That
in contact
part.
with law enforcement and possibly be a CI or trying to work off a charge or
That part. That
whatever. That
part.
they'd
She
be
had
familiar with the name. Nothing.
no criminal history.
you're
She was
right.
clean.
Yeah, that's
And automatically listen to this. The family saying Kemp commonly does not have contact with family for weeks or months at a time. Well, we know that's not true because within a week of her not returning from her camping trip that they all knew that she was
All
on.
something was wrong.
right.
Right. Right. And whenever they put two and two together that she hadn't come back to this family member or this family member for a week, they put it out there that she was missing, which tells me her family was active in her life to realize she was missing
Yep.
that quickly.
Well, you can tell they're active when you see the brother talk later. I mean, he's heartfelt. He's articulate. He's thorough. He tells about the family and how they interacted, and he's honest. He tells it like it is. And when you
Right.
see it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
You tell it came from a good family.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
He was hurt, and I can't
yes.
imagine what he's going through today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to review that when we get to it, but there's something else I'd like to point out here. If you're looking at the screen right now, I can make it bigger to where y'all can see it better. It says it is normal for Kemp to camp in remote locations, just as she was at Lake Ashball, which, according to the family, is true. But listen to this. There were no signs of foul play at the campsite or immediate area. But check this out, right? She had called 911 because she said someone was in her camping area and climbing around under the bottom of her car, right?
Right.
Her belongings were found strewn about.
And that's no
Her
play.
her car was being gone through. Someone went through all of her belongings.
Right.
But they said there was no sign of foul play at the campsite or immediate area. And then yesterday at 1:45 p.m., a detective and civil searchers, civilian searchers,
Right.
found a highly decomposed body
Yes.
very, very close to the actual campsite.
Or well, that's the thing though. If it's just been in May, was it just bones or was there actually tissue?
It just said highly decomposed is what it said. I don't know if it's
Skeletal. I'm going to pull it up here in a minute. They said they found skeletal remains, high, like advanced decomposition. So,
Suppose that fact on, not from May to now, if it happened, unless they, I mean, I have worked a case where they use muriatic acid and stuff like that to, own bodies to make them decompose that quick. But without them running the DNA, they don't know who it is.
Right.
So maybe they could get enough features off of her or some kind of jewelry or something. I don't know.
Dental
Make an idea. Dental
Mhm.
records. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Um, she's deceased. If it is her, right?
Right.
Right.
So where does that leave law enforcement if they were called out there?
For a distress.
Right? Where does that leave the investigation? Like,
I mean, I would think that it would fall under neglect.
That's neglected duty is exactly what it is. It's
mm,
also neglected duty on EMT for turning the ambulance around. They're just as much responsible as the police.
all right. Well, but the thing is I can understand if the ambulance was told to be canceled, and it was,
Right.
according to everything, according to the police department that it was canceled. Um, if the cop determined that she was fit to be out there by herself, and he couldn't take her in on a code
There was
for
some kind of
having,
standard they used, and I heard it, but I didn't write it down, and then we didn't go back and look at it again. But we'll hear it here in a minute, I guess, if we cover if it goes.
yeah. All right. So I'm going to let this play for just a minute and give you all a little more context to this.
Make that distinction, as what was said in the post can be a little misleading. The post also claimed that Paige commonly severs contact with family members for weeks or even months at a time. I've spoken to her brother Daryl, who you'll hear from in a moment. He avidly refuted this claim. In fact, he was with Paige just before she went camping. Thirdly, the post claimed Kemp was known to camp at remote locations like Lake Ashbaugh. This is true. Paige loved nature and animals and all things involving the outdoors. This can be seen in many of her photos. I'm just not sure why cops included this in the post, but not the fact that her car and tent were found at the campsite abandoned, while all her belongings were strewn around the place. But this won't be the strangest detail in this case. Lastly, under the early discerned details portion of the Greene County Sheriff's Department post, directly after not mentioning Paige's abandoned and seemingly tampered with belongings, they state there were no signs of foul play at the campsite or immediate area. Now, I have a lot of time for police. In every single country I've ever encountered them in, they've always been nothing but helpful and courteous to me. I think there's a lot more good ones than bad ones. But I found that section of the sheriff's post a little distasteful. Paige Kemp's last known contact before her phone went dark and she disappeared was to 911, and she was claiming someone or something was under her car. Then she disappears, abandons all her stuff, and her phone goes silent. I mean, that's not far off foul play, or at very least, suspicion. It's stated that the family didn't report Paige missing for 9 days after they last had contact with her, as if this is some kind of issue. But there's nothing wrong with going camping for a week, even if it was dangerous for her to do it alone.
My big question is why was it CID called out immediately instead of a patrolman?
I didn't think of that, but it does make that. Here's an odd question.
I mean that's just protocol at any department. If you can't find somebody and you walk up on something like that, CID has somebody on call 24 hours. They should have been called out immediately
To
out
look
there.
at how her stuff was
Right.
scattered.
Do y'all know what kind of car she was in?
I haven't seen. I don't. It didn't say yesterday in what we watched, but Regina may know. I don't.
No.
That would be a big thing. I mean, if she was in a Honda Accord, of course there wasn't nobody under it. But if it was a Jeep or a pickup truck, it's
Very possible.
Somebody was under it.
Yeah, there's actually some very interesting stuff come out recently. We're not going to talk about because
Right.
it's been turned over as information to the Greene County Sheriff's Office and is part of an ongoing investigation, right? But yeah, who's to say that she was not? She didn't have somebody out there watching her, this, that. And if the cop made the decision that she was mentally stable enough to be out there on her own, I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's where I have to question even further. Okay, if she was mentally stable enough that the cop, listen, in order for her to convince that cop that she didn't need medical attention and get that ambulance canceled. There had to have been some kind of conversation that made that cop think that she was of sound enough mind to be
Yeah.
there alone,
But
correct?
how you go from hallucination in the narrative and then you get to she's okay to stay. Once hallucinations written down in
Uh-huh.
their report, bingo to me. No, she's going to be looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. If you think that there is a person who is on a substance or who is having a mental episode at all, the responsible thing to do, what we're paying you to do, is, since it is not in your field or category, but
Protect
you
and
are a
serve.
mandated, right? You are a mandated reporter, right? Period. You need to get that person the help that they need.
That is a fact because that report that you just played contradicts everything the officer said. I mean, it contradicts it. That makes no sense.
It
Uh,
did to me, and I'm not law enforcement.
yeah, I mean that he's contradicted himself completely, and I don't understand why he. Like I said, if it was something like that, a CID should have been called out. But, so he should have went up the chain of command. But it sounds like to me that he just walked away from it, and that's a possibility. We got a lot of lazy cops now.
And one other thing, if they went through all of this and they left and they let her stay out there, would you not think it? I mean, it's not protocol, but would you not think that the head guy would say, "Hey, how about check on her, or ride
One,
by there and make I don't
Right.
know. I'm not law enforcement, but it would seem logical to me.
Yes.
She was a
yep,
little odd yesterday, and I think she's okay. But I like to get eyes on her and just make sure and say hello and see if she's all right.
that's
And
right.
and they may have done that, or they may not. That seems like they would have.
I should have. I mean, if I was in that situation, I would have went out there.
Okay, this is a statement from the police department. Kemp was not reported missing by family members until the 5th, the 14th of 2025, 9 days after she was contacted by my deputy. When she was reported missing, she was reported missing to Jonesboro Police Department. When our department learned of the missing person report, we responded to the campsite to begin investigating. A timeline of actions from 5/14/2025 until today is listed below, and I'm going to pull that up. Be advised that this timeline is not all inclusive, as it does not include every single action or the number of hours dedicated to these tasks. Specifically, the review of data dumps from devices and cell phone towers between my patrol deputies and criminal investigators. My department has well over 200 man hours invested in attempting to locate Miss Kemp, which is like just blows my mind, honestly, because at the same time they're saying we put 200 hours into searching for this woman, just the cops themselves, right?
Right.
And she
Well,
was found near her campsite.
But and that's the thing. But yet she was found near her campsite.
right there, just right there.
Well, let me ask you this: they had 200 man hours. They're claiming they had 200 man hours just from their department.
Yes, absolutely.
That's horse shit. There's not a department in the state of Arkansas right now that could turn loose of a cop. That, it's not physically possible. They're lying.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
You got to.
Now, I'm just gonna tell it like it is. I don't care if they like it or not. They're lying. They didn't put no 200 hours in it. Uh, I mean, you taking officers off the street, or two or three of them off the street for 200 hours to look for somebody while everything's going on. It's not feasible. Every
Well, I can't 100% like just be 1,000% agree with that, because if one person, okay, I got to think about the math here, and I'm not trying to just disagree, but I got to think that I got to think everything through,
right,
because I look at everything unbiasedly, right?
right,
So if one person worked 45 hours a week on her case in 4 weeks, that would be 200 hours pretty much.
Right.
right.
So I do have to maybe think, that there was, even if it was just, but see, that makes it look even worse, right?
Exactly.
Because if all they have is 200 hours
Right.
Yeah.
and it is 36 days later, have y'all only had one cop dedicated? That's 200 hours. That's nothing.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. If they had 200 man hours of 2 or 3 patrolmen or whatever out there looking for them, did they ever call the game and fish or the state police in to try to help?
Well, hold on just a second. I'm going to pull up the timeline. I'm
Okay.
going to pull up the timeline for you. Wilby, you want to take over for a second while
Yeah,
I
hold
pull up
on.
this? I appreciate it so much.
I would imagine a lot of those departments in the counties are short budgeted and
Very much so.
staffed, and I mean, you got your bare bones stuff. You have to have people on. You can't just
Exactly.
take them off certain things, and
That's exactly what I'm getting at there.
there's not a little extra of manpower. I would think it'd be to just say, "Hey, y'all go do this." No,
No, because even with ours, I mean, no, we had friends and family that volunteered. That made up the majority of our search.
Yeah, and here's the thing. What's bad about the whole situation? I'm just gonna throw out where we're from.
yeah,
90% of the time during the week, they have got one officer out at night patrolling. We got 632 miles in this county.
goodness
They've
gracious.
got one officer covering 632 miles of county. You can
It's not
one man cannot do
possible.
that.
There ain't no way. I mean,
Oh no, I mean
he can just basically stay in the high crime or the more prone
Right.
to be,
uh,
get call areas and hope
Yes.
he connects with what goes on. But that's a lot of open space.
yep,
Yes.
yep,
We are one of the largest counties.
yeah. I mean, and whenever they're fully staffed, they ain't got but 3.
That's amazing.
Which when we're not on podcast, I'll tell y'all a little bit more about that because
Yeah.
they actually do have 3 more cops that's on duty full time, but they're not. They're dedicated to something they have no business being dedicated to.
Yeah.
But it's all about money.
Yes.
When you told what you did and at the start, I got interested because I have been all my life. I graduated from high school in 1980 and college in 1985. And in 1985, cocaine was falling out of the sky, literally.
Right.
Right.
And after all that period went through, and I got really interested in what's going on. I've read every book I can read on Mina. I've read every
Yes.
deep dive book on the drug, the whole thing, and that Mina.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
I like to talk to you privately sometimes. That's just crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a story for sure.
I can tell you
Okay.
about that. When I went through the academy, Glick on all of that. That was
Yeah, I've told
40.
this before to Regina. I said I've read 100 books. I said
Yeah.
that fascinates me how all that was connected and
Yeah.
pushed under the rug and basically sanctioned drug dealing for the Nicaraguan.
Yep.
Okay. Are you guys ready for this?
Hey, let's go.
All right. So here is, and I appreciate you guys keeping, the audience entertained while I was pulling this up. I meant to have it pulled up, but I was having 2 different conversations right before the live stream. Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm going to read. I've got it. If you can't see it, it's completely pulled up on the screen. I'm going to scroll with you guys and I'm going to read the far right side of the screen, which is the actual timeline that the Greene County Sheriff's Department has issued in when it was just the missing persons report, Jessica Paige Kemp. And even though, okay, I'm going to say that she is technically still missing for legal purposes because at this point, we don't know whose skeleton that was.
Yeah,
No.
we haven't had a coroner's idea yet.
We have no identification, and out of respect for the family,
Yes.
because we do not know, and from possibly from what they're saying, it might not even be her. It might be someone that got, what I'm saying, because it was so skeletalized. We don't know it's her.
You can
So-
only pray that it's not her.
Right. Pray that it is absolutely not her.
Correct.
And pray for the family that has lost someone, because regardless, there is a human being who
It's
has
going to be
died.
somebody's worst day of their life.
Yes,
That's
it
it.
is.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean, and
And something else the family has asked is for prayers So you guys, if y'all are out there listening, y'all know I have an absolute faith in God. I'm not a perfect human being. I mess up all the time. I own that, but I have a very profound belief in God. I don't think he's
Amen.
real.
Yeah.
I know he's real. And I'm telling you right now, there is nothing like the power of prayer for believers.
Yes.
Yep.
We're
Okay.
2 or more gathered in spirit, so is
Insane.
he.
That's right.
Yes.
You
So
gotta.
I would ask you all to pray for this family, for Jessica
Absolutely.
Paige
'Cause this
Kemp's
got to be the
family.
worst day.
Yeah. I mean, pray for closure for the family. I mean, it's just
Absolution, closure, and
the not
abs-
knowing will drive you absolutely insane. I mean,
yeah,
It would. It would.
and
yep.
it,
That's a conversation me and Miss Jennifer were having earlier
Yes,
today
it
about
was.
not
Yeah.
having enough information.
Yes.
right.
So yeah, I understand that. I absolutely understand that. And I'm praying to God that they are thorough with this girl's investigation because her family deserves
That's right.
answers.
Exactly.
Transparent and where everybody knows what's right, right,
Right.
done right.
Yeah.
And that's really essentially what it all comes down to is here's my thing. All families deserve to know
Exactly.
because living with that not knowing is the worst thing someone can go through.
You got to have closure.
Yes,
You
it is.
need absolution. You need closure. Absolutely. And I agree with you there. And that's the reason, Jennifer, I'm trying to help you find that, you
Oh
know.
yeah, and I
So,
appreciate you.
yeah.
Yeah.
It, like I said,
Just like that's kind of like why I'm here. I want to help who I can find absolution and tell their families, their loved ones' story. Um, and just identify it for what it is, and if there are questions, there are questions. If there are absolutions, there are absolutions.
Right.
But also along the way, like, you can identify so many things that need done procedurally, um, to help make investigations more whole,
Yes.
like the
Absolutely.
entire the entire crime lab evidence collection, everything like that needs a complete overall because
That's going to take a federal and
take a better audit.
legislation oversight. I think. I don't like big government. I like less government, but I don't
Maybe.
see any other way.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can't let.
here's my thing. I don't think it needs all that. You know what I think it needs? I think that it needs updated. I think it all needs everything needs uploaded digitally, but they need a bigger facility first of all. I mean, let's face it, they're operating on how many years old facility, you know what I'm saying? But I also think that they need to completely overhaul their entire intake and evidence collection and distribution system. I think it's outdated and I think it needs updated, and it will help a lot of this because Arkansas has been losing
Yeah.
evidence for over
Years.
40 years.
My
Yeah.
thing is, I think they need to contract somebody on the outside that's not in law enforcement,
Yeah.
that's not has anything that they don't have. You know,
They
they
got no game and no money in the game.
dog in the fight,
Yeah.
right?
That's right. There you go. That's
All
what
right.
it's trying to come.
And
Okay. So, and it's only because I'm trying to keep us not that sidebarred. We're already past my goal of, I mean, we're already getting there close to the goal of how long I wanted to be live. So we're going to have a
Well,
longer
this
live
is an
than I even.
interesting case, and we're either going to hear some answers that leave our worries and concerns, or we won't. And that's what we're
Right,
trying to find out now. So it takes time.
right. So check this out. Here's the police timeline completely of everything, right? They've done a timeline. And I'm going to read it on the left while her picture is on. I mean, I'm going to read it on the right while her picture is on the left. And I'm going to start from the very top and I'm going to read it all the way down to the very bottom. And it is her complete timeline and what police are saying whenever they still knew it was just a missing person case. And for legal purposes, it is a missing persons case because she has not been identified.
Yeah.
Okay. All we know is there was a skeletal remains found out there at Lake Ashball near her campsite, just right there off of where her campsite was. Okay. So Greene County, hold on, let me get a drink. You guys give me 45 seconds. Will y'all
You
hold
good?
down the fort?
I got something else.
All right, Wilby, thank you.
There's that designation I was telling you about earlier. I'm reading down. It's the crisis intervention trained deputies
that's
conversation.
right.
Are
Right.
you familiar with that?
I am.
Okay.
It's a. I think that's a 3 or 4 day class.
Yeah, I would imagine something like that, and it's just they probably got it broken down and simplified where you got certain steps, and
Right.
Exactly.
they'll usually attach some kind of acronym, do this, blah blah blah. You memorize that, and it does help people in their training and in implementing and carrying out stuff like that. But
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I don't like. What I don't like about the report. They was talking about her past meth use and all that. That ain't got nothing to do with her missing. A bad
no,
decision don't make her a bad person.
and they also said she had stopped taking some prescribed medicine,
Right.
and
Right.
I was curious about what that was because uh, we all know you quit certain medicines and you got certain things that can
Stuff
happen.
that happened.
Yeah, so I'm just curious, but how would they even know? That's my question.
Yeah, that's where I'm at
I
with.
mean, how do you make that call and you make that little report out there in that little campground, whatever by the lake, and you already got this,
Person figured out.
yeah, figured out? You done called the pharmacy and got subpoenaed to get her medical records because I
Right.
don't imagine you can just walk in there and get them.
No.
Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but
Hell, it just. I mean, by law, they've got to be subpoenaed. But
you were
talk.
talking about your law enforcement career. I had an aunt, my dad's youngest, not his next youngest sister, Aunt Beth. She worked for the FBI her entire career. She was in a laboratory.
Right.
And they wanted her to become an agent because she died back in the late 90s, I think, maybe the early 90s. Anyway, she didn't want to do it. She stayed in the lab, and then she retired as head of the bank robbery computer files division. But she used to come home for Christmas. I live in North Carolina. She lived up in Alexandria, and she would tell us all these stories about what they did in the crime lab. And I mean, it was like all my cousins. We just sit there and listen, and she was just an incredible person.
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually know someone that works at the Arkansas State Crime Lab that does bone identification and stuff. Amazing, smart, like one of the most amazing, smart people I have ever met in my life. And like, I have taken skeletons I found out in the field during my searches, right? That I knew were animal, like cat skulls and stuff like that,
Right.
and taking them to her for her collection. Like, so, um, but anyways, hold on a second. I've got it. Wilby, thank you so much, by the way,
Yeah,
for letting
I
me
may
know.
mute
I
here in a
appreciate
second.
you.
Go get me a glass of cold tea if it's all right. Once you
I
get
got
going
me
here,
a glass of cold sweet
I
tea.
just
We're gonna
got
be
back from the CVS, and I didn't want to make tea because I knew it was out. I said I ain't gonna have time to make it. I need to get one, so I'm gonna mute and go in there, and I'll be back.
we're gonna be drink twinsies. That's cool.
All right, I'll be right back. But you
Look, I'm an advocate for sweet tea. Okay.
this is sweet today, but it says sugar-free sweet tea. I guess they're using artificial sweeteners. So I thought,
Oh
that's
no,
what.
Wilby, we can't have none of that.
Well, I mean,
None
I
of
know,
that.
but I'm gonna get to the age and get in the place where I can't just be eating a sugar bucket.
Wilby, I'm gonna
Sweet
be
tea
getting
is
on
like
to you.
sweet tea is my heroin.
Wilby, I'm gonna be
Okay, I get
getting
up in the
on
middle
to
of the night and
you.
I sleepwalk to the kitchen and
I'm
get
gonna
up
be
in a
getting
glass.
on to you. I'm gonna be
I
getting
don't
on
even
to
know
you.
I mainline it, but I'll
Well,
be
just
right back while you're
you're
talking.
gonna hear it from me, so
All
just
right,
deal with it.
be
Mine's
right
Okay.
back.
out too.
So here's the statement from the Greene County Sheriff's Department, and it's a complete timeline on their complete timeline. You see what I'm saying? Like from their calls and everything like that. And it says Greene County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Brad Snyder. Okay, and you can see this is the actual page. It's the government, blah, 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 right? Okay. Update on missing person, Jessica Paige Kemp. And this is before the skeletal remains were found. This was on May the 30th at 5:46 p.m. Update on missing person, Jessica Paige Kemp. Jessica Paige Kemp was contacted by a Greene County deputy sheriff on the 5th of 2025 at a primitive camping site at a wildlife management area adjacent to Lake Ashball, located in extreme northwest Greene County. Kemp had placed a 911 call to dispatch to report something or someone under her car. Upon my deputy's arrival, it was determined that nothing was under or in Kemp's vehicle. During the crisis intervention, trained deputies conversation with Kemp, it was learned, confirmed by radio traffic, that Kemp had recently stopped taking prescription medications to treat mental health. At the time of the deputy's interview of Kemp, she did not meet the criteria for being taken into custody under the provisions afforded to crisis intervention trained officers under Act 423 of 2017. Kemp advised the deputy that she would follow up with her physician regarding her mental health medications. Kemp was not reported missing by family members until the 5th, the 14th of 2025. 9 days after she was contacted by my deputy. When she was reported missing to the Jonesboro Police Department. When our department learned of the missing persons report, we responded to the campsite to begin investigating. A timeline of actions from the 5th to 14th of 2025 until today is listed below. Be advised that this timeline is not all-inclusive, as it does not include every single action or the number of hours dedicated to these tasks, specifically the review of data dumps from devices and cell towers. Between my patrol deputies and criminal investigators, my department has well over 200 man-hours invested in attempting to locate Mrs. Kemp. Is that all? Y'all, 200 hours is nothing.
No, it's not. But like I said, this was the state police ever involved in the investigation, or is it just strictly Greene County?
Greene County. They never called in the state.
That's odd to
But
me.
they're supposed to.
Are they?
I want to say I read.
No, they don't. They don't.
I don't think they are.
The only way they have to be called in if it's in a situation like we was in, if there was a St. Francis County, Greene County, they can't do their own investigation if one of their officers was involved.
Gotcha.
That's the way that goes. So that officer was the last one that seen her alive.
Mm-hmm. Listen to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Details that were discerned early on in the investigation include, right? Kemp was a known drug addict. Kemp commonly does not have contact with family for weeks and months at a time. It is normal for Kemp to camp in remote locations, just as she was at Lake Ashball. There were no signs of foul play at the campsite or immediate area. On the 5th, this is the investigation timeline, right? Yeah. On the 5th to 14th of 2025, responded to Ashball, which is the lake, photographed campsite, right? So they went out there on the 14th and photographed her campsite and stuff. And that was the 15th, it says, and then Arkansas Game and Fish and Greene County SO conducted a grid search, 39 acres approximately.
So the Game and Fish was involved.
Yep.
The Game and Fish are great. I mean,
yeah.
They were absolutely great. I mean,
how thick is the brush and the underbrush in that area? I mean,
well, I've actually got a clip that's going to show you the exact area.
That has
like, here's the thing: it was maintained. It was maintained. It was maintained area. Like, it was an actual campfire area that was provided. Like, it had a picnic table, a fire pit, everything. So this whole makeshift campsite, like, this is kind of. Let me continue reading, okay?
Go ahead.
Greene County Sheriff's Department flew a drone. Captain Thomas contacted the Morgan Nick Foundation via email requesting assistance with a flyer. We
lost her.
No, I'm sorry. My mouth is bone dry, so I don't want y'all to hear me drinking and be rude.
No, I want to hear some gulp, because that's going to influence me to go over and grab that big thing of tea I got. Come on, I got 2 big gulps before I got in here.
There you
Yeah.
go.
And if y'all hear noise while we're doing, I've
He's
got a
got-
cat that is participating in this live stream. So
Yeah,
So listen to this. So the 5th to 15th, the Greene County Sheriff's Department, okay, so the day after she was reported missing, or they found out she was missing because her family reported it on the 14th, remember? And they come out there and they photographed her campsite, right?
Right.
So the 5th to 15th of 2025, Greene County Sheriff's Department and Arkansas and Game and Fish conducted water searches with 2 boats for the entire day.
Mm.
Okay, so how many hours is that?
At best, for the actually in a boat searching the game and fish. If it was 2 days, they might have had 10 days in 10 hours in a boat.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
with forward-facing sonar, they can
Yeah.
make hay with that.
right. So check this out. For the entire day, Greene County Sheriff's Department took down the campsite and towed car to SO. Greene County Lieutenant Ashley Cullen, however you pronounce it, called every hospital and jail within 100 miles, checking for Jessica Kemp.
When did they put a bolo out on her? Or did they ever?
They contacted the Nick Morgan Foundation, and the Nick Morgan Foundation put the information out. It just said,
So the 14th, when they reported her, it would have went out within a day.
it went out. Hold on a second. Yep, it went out on the 14th.
Okay.
That she was a missing person. Okay. So we've got Greene County Sheriff's Department took down the campsite and towed car to SO. Greene County Lieutenant Ashley Cullen called every hospital and jail within 100 miles, checking for Jessica Kemp.
Don't make no sense. Let me ask something completely off cue.
Well, I got to say this, first of all. It actually kind of does make sense to call everybody like that and check for her, because
It does.
That would be procedure.
if
You'd be in
she
the book
was right,
checklist. Do this. Do this.
right. But with that said, that also speaks to they were concerned she was at the hospital because they knew
that
she was having
unstable.
something going on. Yeah,
Right.
something or scenes, but they thought she was hallucinating. But what if she wasn't
Exactly.
hallucinating anything? What if there was someone?
And when Regina tells you something, you might figure out that she might.
Nah, we're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to go there. Okay.
Okay, we're not going
publicly.
there.
I got you.
Listen, that is part of an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to talk about it yet.
Something that doesn't need to be let out quite yet.
Exactly.
I'm just like I said. The last person that seen her alive was a cop. Was the remains found in the water, or was they found?
No, they were found. They were not in the lake.
And they done a third. That don't make no sense.
I'd like to see where they found her and go back and look where they searched. And,
Exactly. I would
see how could they have missed her? Was she missable? You see.
Well, here's the whole thing. I'm going out there tomorrow. I'm going to go out there. If there's a crime scene up still there, I will not go near it. Okay? Because I'm not going to interfere with an investigation.
You can get a sense, though, if it were an area where she could have fell in a little ravine gully, a deep vegetative ditch.
I'm not going to go up there. Listen, I'm not going to go up to that crime scene and record anything. I'm going to go out there and get a general idea and general location of where she was.
Describe it to us.
And say whether the area had heavy underbrush or this, that, or the other.
Could she have been hidden from a searcher's?
Right. Yeah, because I'm telling you what, I'm not getting anywhere near anybody's crime scenes because
you don't want to inject.
There's people that do put themselves out there and do that kind of stuff, and all they do is interfere in the investigation, and I don't agree with that at all.
And make it worse. Did they ever call the dogs out?
Well, hold on a second. I'm going to continue reading it. It's all in here. Listen to what I'm reading you the entire timeline. The 5th to 16th of 2025, AT&T exigent circumstances, right? This is the 16th. They did all of the phone number information and the ping search and all that, right?
Right.
And then there was a possible sighting. That was the 16th. They did the exigent circumstances to get the data location on her phone and stuff, right? What they could.
Triangulate it. Yeah.
And also on the 16th, possible sighting in Marmaduke didn't pan out. Okay. It was reported that there was a sighting of her in Marmaduke, but that did not pan out. And, well, anyways. So they sent an emergency disclosure order to Text Now Facebook exigent circumstances too. So they put out a search warrant to Facebook to see if she had any Facebook activity, right?
Right.
And this was all on the 16th.
I would think it would take a while before they would get that data back. I mean, you would know, you're being an officer, haven't done it, but
Right. Well, listen to this. Verizon pings started at 2:32.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
That's what they'll ping each cell. What it
Each
is,
cell tower.
they'll ping each cell tower, and they can triangulate the ping.
yeah,
It's not an exact location.
get a general. They're trying to get a generalized location.
Right.
Then I've looked into that. The more towers, the closer they can get. And,
Yes.
Right.
you know, if
Okay,
you got
check this out.
3 towers so close, and then you got 8, it can get real close.
So they called the Google emergency disclosure line, right? And that was so they could get a ping on her phone.
Right.
Okay. And then they contacted Texar K9 team. Possible sighting, Strawberry, Arkansas, traveled to Strawberry, Arkansas to look for video, spoke with Peyton Rayburn regarding her social media. And I don't know who, I'm going to have to look this lady up. Spoke with Peyton Rayburn a second time for an interview. Thermal, right?
Heat
They did
heat
interviews. Thermal drone grid, 3 a.m. until 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would think through that data they would have at least got the last, when her phone went dead, say it was laying on the ground, whatever, and at some point it's going to lose power, it's going out.
Right.
I would think, now I don't know, but they would have got the last tower.
That's
It
how
handshake. They do a handshake, well, you know what I'm saying, where they're close to.
how it works.
And I would think they would have had the last one that was closest. Wouldn't they have that information?
Yes.
I'm going to tell y'all
And
something.
that narrows down a whole lot.
Right.
All right. I'm going to tell y'all something. I was out on the search one time and I dropped my phone in them woods. And there is no signal reception. You can't make a phone call. You're so deep in them woods, right?
Right.
My husband still got online and used Google,
Walked right to it.
walked right, and I knew exactly where I dropped it and everything, and it led me right to it.
Yep.
It will. It will.
Find your phone. I've used it 1,000 times.
Yep.
But you got to understand, this was a mile into the woods.
Yep.
That I lost my phone.
Do they lose reception anywhere out there in that area?
Absolutely, you can lose
Okay, say we don't
reception
deal with that.
all
But
over
I
the
would
place.
think you would out there because it's more rural.
It's very rural. It's very rural.
Out in the country. That's where the good stuff happens.
So let's.
Where the
But,
gravel
but
roads
hey,
start.
we got to, you guys. We got to get through this.
It might be a 2-stream thing.
I want to get through this.
Well,
Buddy.
hurry up. Go.
So on the 5th to 17th, right? Sergeant Crittenden spoke with Morgan Nick Foundation, again requesting flyer. Sergeant Crittenden spoke with Texar K9 team. They couldn't come until after Memorial Day due to prior engagements. Okay. Captain Thomas made contact with the Morgan Nick Foundation requesting flyer. Taryn stated she printed a flyer on the 5th to 17th of 2025 and shared it on their page, but forgot to forward it to the sheriff's office. Captain Thomas made well, there's a failure right there. There's one mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
She forgot to forward it, right?
Right.
Maybe we need some kind of program for procedure whenever we're doing this that reminds people to follow these steps and have to check it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
So Captain Thomas made contact with Sandra Kemp and advised her we had requested the Morgan Nick flyer again and would be making a post. And then there was a phone interview with Deputy Brian Tillman. It was Tillman. 3-hour meeting with mom and brother of Jessica Kemp. Meeting with CID and sheriff in chief. Traveled to Dollar General at Laredo to request video because apparently there was a report in Laredo or something. Requested video of Laredo Grill, or I guess these were her last known to be locations or something. Called about camera on his hunting cabin. So they had video. They collected. I don't know if it had anything on it or not, but they collected.
Right.
Yeah.
They were collecting video in the area. At Ashball, collected clothing in woods found by family. Oh,
Sounds
But
very.
they didn't get all this. The family actually found clothes after the law enforcement had been out there.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know if she was wearing clothes when they found her.
Yeah.
I have to ask that. With them, like that statement right there, I have to question that, right?
Yep.
I mean, I know that her stuff was scattered. Is that what they're meaning? That her clothes were scattered?
Don't
I
know.
don't know what it is.
That or they found what they found, and then there was some additional items found, which is suggested somebody didn't do a thorough enough scout for whatever. But we don't know that. So
You said that park was maintained though. If it was maintained, there's got to be a park or a groundskeeper there. That's the guy they need to be talking to. I mean, and somebody's got to be out there taking care of park ranger or something.
I'll show it to you here in a minute in a video, and you tell me what you think.
Okay.
But it looks like a maintained camping area to me.
Right. Somebody's got to maintain it,
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it said it was a particular wildlife.
Yeah,
so that would be
like. What was the name of that lake again?
Lake Ashball.
Ashball. I couldn't remember. I'm gonna Google map and look at it myself a bit.
Lake Ashball.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google map it while you're talking.
Okay, so at Ashball, collected clothing in woods found by family. So the family found her belongings in the woods. Why? If I'm so confused right now. Okay. So the family's the one that found her clothing and stuff in the woods, and civilians were the ones that actually found a human that was deceased.
What did they say? Southwest of the lake. Didn't we read that yesterday?
Yeah, I'm going to go through that again.
Okay,
real quick.
I'm
in just a minute.
My purpose. I was just saying.
So I'm going to let's get through this, and this should answer most of these questions. Okay, except for the part where we're going to where the skeletal remains were found. So went to requesting video. Captain Thomas and Sergeant Crittenden interviewed Padden Rayburn. Oh, that's her boyfriend, I think. Yep, I think that's her boyfriend, Payton. I think that's her boyfriend, Payton. That's who that is. That's her boyfriend, Payton. Collected and dumped his phone while we waited. Oh, so they went to her boyfriend and they got.
Remember, her brother said her boyfriend absolutely had nothing to do with it. That was his, in his interview.
Yep. And apparently that's he was working at the Dollar General, and that's why they went and got the video to see if he. So that makes sense. Okay. Collected and dumped his phone while he waited, canvassed area for cameras, and spoke to neighbors. His neighbors, I guess. What the hell?
You know, there's an Arkansas Game and Fish office right there on the lake, right?
Oh, absolutely, I do. That's something else I was fixing to bring up because I'm pulling up a Google map. So check this out. They went and canvassed his neighborhood and his area.
To the park.
But what about the park where she went missing from?
Right. Yeah.
Where all her stuff was scattered and found by. You guys, this. I'm having some issues here.
Google.
and canvassed the area for cameras and spoke to neighbors. And that was at Raiden Payburn's area, right? Captain Thomas made contact with emergency management and requested cadaver dog contacts. Captain Thomas made contact with 3R Canine Search Foundation and requested dogs. Captain Thomas was told the soonest the dog would be here would be Wednesday, 5th, 28, 2025. Received multiple on the 5th to 20th, received multiple messages from Sandra Kemp asking questions. Spoke to Miss Kemp via phone. Checked back in with Dollar General for, I guess, to make sure that Rayburn was working or whatever. Processed Rayburn's phone. Looked for body cam footage and prior reports. Huh. So they were investigating her boyfriend.
Well, you have to clear those closest, you know that.
Well, right, but they didn't. That makes. They said they don't suspect foul play while they're investigating the boyfriend, and she's right there in the park. And her family's the one that finds her clothing in the woods and stuff. Like, this just.
Somebody's lying.
I don't know.
The cops found it.
Looked for body cam footage and prior reports. Submitted requests to Facebook for data on Kemp's account. Sergeant Crittenden and Sergeant Jackson spoke with Cody Turner, who brought in alleged evidence.
And that is the name.
Yep. Who brought in alleged evidence. Spoke with requesting that. Come back in contact with Dollar General supervisor, submitted letter, requested video, back to DG to get video, interview, and it doesn't, of course, say who. So they got all the Dollar General footage, apparently, of Payton working and stuff, right? And they did the search warrant for cell records on AT&T. On the 5th to 21st of 2025, right? They did the search warrants for Payton's cell records, right? Because they didn't need any warrant for Jessica's information because that fell under exigent circumstances.
Right.
Search warrant sent to the judge, and then they sent off the search warrant back to AT&T after it was signed by a judge on the 5th to 21st of 2025. The 5th to 23rd, they interviewed 4 people. Search warrant for Tower Dump, spoke with about a tip, spoke with Lieutenant from Munford, Tennessee, went to Ashball and other campsite on a lead. Huh.
Another campsite with a lead. That's
yeah.
That's
I'm gonna tell y'all something else. By looking at the key in the lecture, there's a bait shop within walking distance of where the tents where she'd be camping at.
Yeah. Like there's some stuff that's not adding up for me here.
Where's the camp area and the way the lake sits? You got that little it comes to like a little triangulate thing in the southwest part of the lake.
Yeah,
where's the camp area for that?
Hold on. Let's finish this real quick because we're 2/3 of the way through it, and then we're gonna pull up the map and I'm gonna show you guys. Okay. Search warrant for Tower Dump spoke. That was the 27th. Is that where I was? Okay. Spoke with about a tip, right, from Munsford, and another campsite on a lead. That's weird. I wonder what the lead was.
Yeah.
Detective Crittenden got urgent call from family, called them back to find out the private investigator found one of the witnesses and interviewed him.
Ooh.
That's strange.
Ooh.
What did he witness?
I don't know.
Maybe just her wandering through the campground or something, what he saw during the couple of days. Who knows? I don't know.
It don't say anything about them interviewing anybody from the bait shop because, like I said, it's within walking distance of the.
Well, hold on. We're gonna. I'll answer that question. I don't
Okay.
know if there is because we haven't gone through it all.
Okay.
It says all day water, and this is the 28th, right?
Right.
All day water and land search with cadaver dogs. Game and Fish, Greene County Sheriff's Office, 2 boats, 5 dogs, 3 handlers, and LLE. Search warrant for Jessica Paige Kemp's Facebook page profile. On the 5th of 29th, they had half-day water and land search with cadaver dogs. Greene County Sheriff's Office, 2 boats, 5 dogs, 3 handlers, and LLE.
I couldn't cover that whole lake in 2 days.
It didn't take that long to cover that. Whole lake. You can just. Have you seen how big that lake is? I bet it's not even 1,000 foot across. Hold on a second. It says followed up on possible sighting in Paragould. Unfounded. Right? Followed up with an anonymous tip in another county. Interviewed. Doesn't say who. Received anonymous tip in process of being followed up on. Right? The Greene County Sheriff's Department has worked diligently on this case, and I am very thankful to my dedicated investigators and deputies who have put in numerous hours of work to locate Miss Kemp. To reiterate, there were no signs of foul play at the scene. Miss Kemp was 32 years of age. She is free to live her life as she sees fit, including not having contact with family and or friends. However, until we locate her or receive word to be found by anyone, we will continue to pursue any leads that we become aware of. I have attached the missing persons flyer to Miss Kemp once again for reference. Okay. So now that we've got that one out of the way, I'm going to close that. Okay. And I am going to pull up is this it? No, that's not it.
It's literally like 6.
Here we go. So let me explain something to y'all about her case. Her family has been out there searching this whole time too.
Right.
Okay. And I have the report right here. And I'm going to pull it up. Here we go.
That's a deep ravine.
So, Greene County, Arkansas. The search for a former Tipton County woman reported missing continues. Jessica Paige Kemp, 32, who now lives in Paragould, Arkansas, was last seen alive on May the 5th, camping alone near Lake Ashbaugh in northeastern Arkansas. We've searched everything. We've searched all the woods. We've searched all those woods, said her mother, Sandy Kemp. Sandy Kemp was exhausted and frightened for the safety of her daughter, who was originally from Mumford, Tennessee. The last known read message was on May the 5th. I texted her again May the 6th, 6:30 in the morning. She has not opened a message since then.
Wonder if he replied.
Wow. Police found, listen to this part. Police found Kemp's abandoned car, and inside the car were her purse with items scattered. Her phone was recovered, but there was no sign of Kemp. We didn't hear anything from her. She stopped using her debit card. No responses from her to anybody. And we've always been a very, very close family.
Wow.
So we knew something was wrong, Sandy said. Jessica, also known as Paige, has been the focus of an intensive search effort over a 25,000-acre wildlife management area. I'm very worried, very concerned. I'm sad, and I'm missing my daughter very much, said Darnell Kemp, the younger brother of Jessica. We're physically exhausted with the situation. We're just trying to get any help we possibly can to help bring her home, said Padden Rayburn, Jessica's fiance. Somebody may have taken her at this time. We just don't know. I just want her found alive and I want her to come home, said Sandy. According to Sandy Kemp, her daughter may be going through some emotional issues. Authorities are examining Jessica's cell phone for more information. If you know the whereabouts of Jessica Paige Kemp, you are urged to contact the Greene County Sheriff's Office. Okay. So that is from her missing. And then this is the last thing we have to go over. Okay. Mm. This is heartbreaking, y'all. Someone's gonna have the worst, like y'all said, someone's gonna have the worst day of their lives if this is her, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Very much so.
So here's the update on Jessica Paige Kemp's story. And this brings everything to a close that we have at this time because it is obviously an investigation and we don't even know if it's her yet, right?
Yes.
Right.
So Greene County Sheriff Brad Snyder announced this afternoon the discovery of skeletal remains in the Lake Ashbaugh area. This is the same area where Jessica Paige Kemp was last seen and the focus of numerous searches. According to the sheriff's office, an investigator and civilian searchers were in the area southwest of Lake Ashbaugh when they encountered a strong smell commonly associated with decomposition. Upon further investigation, skeletal remains in an advanced stage of decomposition were discovered. Sheriff Snyder stated that the remains were sent for identification and no further information would be released. Did y'all just hear what I told y'all?
So why are they not going to
Wanna
release any further information?
That makes no sense.
Sends up a lot of questions and red flags in my mind.
Yep.
Yeah,
Got
Will, but
nothing to hide, you hide nothing.
Exactly.
that campsite it is southwest from the lake.
Mhm.
Yep.
I'm going to pull up the map.
I've got it on Google Earth right now, and I just did a polygon. You basic shape
So
of the
check
lake.
this out. Right? Right? Check this out.
Yeah.
Sheriff Snyder said the Greene County Sheriff's Office was being assisted by the Arkansas State Police Criminal Investigation Division.
Yep.
I wonder if it was under him.
Yeah, I wonder too. I really do.
What's the estimated size y'all have heard of that lake? Because I'm just.
I mean, I'm
it's a big
looking at
lake.
it's a big lake.
Well, I just
No,
did a perimeter.
no,
I
not
don't know if
really.
this is accurate. It's saying
Hold
400.
on, I'm fixing to show y'all.
Okay.
I'm going to
I've
tell
got
y'all how big that lake is.
Big enough. It's got 1, 2, 3 boat landings on it.
416.94 acres.
That's a good
That's
sized
a good
lake.
sized lake.
Well, that's what I got on the polygon measurement. But I don't know that just because
Right.
Google Earth frustrates me. It's a great thing once you learn it.
Holy crap.
What?
That is way bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's
Well,
huge.
that's what I'm showing. Is that correct, though? I mean, I'm just telling you. I'm not sure.
It's big. It's a big lake. It comes right off the Black River.
I mean, I can share my screen with you and do it again, and you can see what I'm talking about on Google Earth Maps.
Yes, Corpus. I'm just wondering with all the rain we had and the waters went down, if she was actually in the water with all the flooding we've had. And then when the water went down, they found her then. There's so many runoffs off this lake. It looks like on this map, you know, flue banks. I mean, it's just eat up with them. It goes all the way down to hell. They just keep going.
I don't think it's 400 acres. That don't look 400 acres to me. It says 280 acres in size.
Yeah, I've got 265 is what I'm showing.
I just kind of little estimate, like I said, I got on Google Earth and it showed more. And if you look at the map overhead, there's just a small buffer around that lake, and then it's agricultural fields.
Yes.
Clear, plumb clear.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I don't make
Yep.
sense.
So y'all are seeing it. Okay, I'm actually going to pull this up from a Google perspective, because do y'all see what I'm showing y'all, like this, how it's like open?
Yes,
Like,
that's what I Googled. Yes.
so I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to
Well,
pull it up on Google. So here we go. Let me share this with you
It's
guys.
not a deep lake either. Average depth 3 to 8 feet.
Yeah, it's definitely a fishing lake.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it is. You're right. It's a very big fishing lake. Let's do the satellite. Let's do terrain. Right? Come on. Come on. No, come on. Satellite. There we go. Y'all see that? Like one side of it, if you look, is woods all the way like north, right?
A long way.
But here's the problem. She wasn't found.
Right.
In the southwest side, you've got a
North.
clear line there.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. Look at
Plowed
this.
fields.
It's all open fields.
Yeah, it's like all cornfields and wheat fields.
Uh-huh. So if she was found on the southwest side of the lake, this would have to be
It'd have to
the
be in that
wooded.
little
If she was found
rectangle.
in a wooded area, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It would have to be here. There's nowhere else on the southwest
Virginia,
side.
can you take your mouse and put it about approximately where the campground was so I can get an idea?
It's not
Like
very
right
far.
here.
Yeah, there's a bait
So
shop
there's like,
right
is
there.
that the main?
It's right here. Look,
Okay.
look where I'm showing
I got
you.
you. I got
Here is the camping areas.
It looks like there's a little trail that kind of follows the lake.
And
edge.
and look, possibly back in here too, it looks like. See it?
Yeah.
Look, let's get in there deep. Deep as we can. Okay. Here's a little, like it looks like a little, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
there's
we
a bait
have
shop.
this back
walking
here.
paths in there. Yeah, you can see it.
That
Yeah.
is that.
So look at this. This is all open fields except for this. Like, you guys,
It's
I'm
not that
blown
long
away.
a distance too from that little road to where it stops. I mean, look at how many feet? 500 feet is about an inch and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I am so confused. Listen, I gotta say something because I'm so confused. Because this is exactly the kind of thing that like I've seen happen in 2 searches now, right?
500 acres.
They did not start off with the last known place that person was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen in 2 different cases now. So here's the thing, right? God forgive me for saying this, but exactly how in the hell did they not find her?
Well,
Yeah, that's my thing.
I could think some very inexperienced searchers could have.
You was right.
A little square there, close to that campground, in those wooded areas.
Look at this, you guys. Look at this. There's no way she got lost in the
There's
woods.
nothing out there.
No.
There's no way she got
Plowed
lost in
fields.
the woods.
You was
Holy
right, Will. That
moly.
lake is 500 acres.
I come up with, when I did my Google Earth thing, it come up. I had 2 different things, and I just kind of picked 4 points and kind of went. It ain't perfect, but that's what I come up with.
Yeah,
That's why I was
But do
asking.
y'all notice something about this lake at the same time? Like you can see right across it.
Oh,
Y'all
yeah,
realize
it's
that,
Yeah,
right?
it's all open.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
completely
right there.
open.
But
I
he
got a
said
picture
something
of the
earlier
bait
about the
shop.
flood
There
water,
it
though.
is.
You know,
Yeah,
where
that was
it'll
right
recede.
there was Regina zoomed in.
Yep, that's the bait shop.
Yeah.
That's the
Right
campground.
here's the game and fish. See right
Yes.
here.
Yep.
Look, right there.
That's it.
And then we got Where's that bait shop?
Right down. No,
I'm
go
gonna
back
unpin
down.
that.
It's in the top right corner of the lake. Is that what y'all said?
No.
Right
No,
here.
it's down there on the corner of it where it kind of makes a point.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right
where
here?
it goes out
I
to
got
that
you.
point. Go to the left, Regina.
Right
Yeah,
here?
right there. That
That's the
pad
pad.
right there.
That's the
Yes.
bait shop. You can see it
If
there.
you
Okay.
zoom in, it's closer to the actual lake in the wood. There's like trees around it.
Oh
That's like the
yeah, see
parking
right
lot.
here.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
right here.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the bait shop.
You see the little dock, little boat.
So see,
And
there's
then
a
look, you
road
got
going in.
yeah, look, you've also got a little water area right here.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like a
that's
rain a runoff area,
Flood
right?
Yep.
ditch or something.
Flood
spillway.
ditch, yep. And then look, like all this
Clean.
is like County Road, Ashball Road, Green County, 101 County
Looks
Road.
like a logging trail almost.
And then look, you got another
Exactly what it
area
is.
up here that leads to yeah. And then we have like it's all farms. You guys look,
Yeah.
these are
Now, in that forest area right around the left side of that lake where we're looking at, wouldn't they have a little bit? Wouldn't there be a lot of water move up in there when the water gets high?
Exactly. That's a spillway
Yeah,
right
there's
there.
So
a lot
you're
of
not gonna have a
spillways.
ton of
right here.
underbrush. You're gonna have muck.
yeah, you're gonna have muck.
Yep. And
You're
we've
not
had
gonna have
severe
underbrush.
flooding in the past month. It's been horrible.
Right.
I know when I drove through Arkansas going to
But
California,
look,
I
Wilby,
couldn't believe the water everywhere.
Wilby,
Yeah.
you remember we looked at that search map. They searched everywhere except that southwest corner.
I remember looking at it, but it seemed like they searched, and I'm looking at the lake from right when we're looking at it. They searched the northwest.
They searched
It was
here. Let me
northwest of
zoom
the
out.
lake. The opposite.
Look, they searched this area, right?
Yeah.
And then they searched like an area around here somewhere, remember? Like in a straight line or whatever, remember? And then they searched all these waterways and stuff, remember? And then they did drone and grid like over all of this.
Let me ask you this. Let's back up, Regina. When did they put the thermal drone in there? I've got a thermal drone. What day did they do that?
Let me look at the timeline again real quick and I'll tell you. Oh, poop.
Will a thermal drone get a heat source off a deceased body?
No, that's what I fixed. That's what I figured to say. If she was already dead, the thermal would
kitty
pick her
cat.
up.
Whoa, here.
Once the body gets to the temperature of the outside air, you're not going to find it with a drone.
No, it's once it goes room temperature, you can't find. You got to be right on top of it with a thermal. Within 30 minutes of them deceasing, and it depends on the outside temperature as well.
Yeah, hold on just a second, please. Sorry about that. I was getting phone calls. So yes, Jennifer Henny Hole. This is exactly the case that we were talking about the other night.
People's calling.
Oh, Jennifer, would you like to come up on panel with me? Here, hold on a second. I would love to have you up here. If you're off work, I know you were working and we talked about that, but there you go, Jennifer, if you want to come up.
I didn't realize. Oh yeah, I had not looked at chat in a while. That's the one thing I hate when we're in StreamYard.
Right, because whenever I'm looking at the other pages, reading and stuff, I can't.
I know, and it's aggravating.
Yep. So, you guys, I'm going to show some of the chats to show because I do appreciate you guys. Lucia, hey, it is good to see you. She said, still listening to. And then we've got Miss Connie. And we've got the awesome Blondie. You guys, that is my girl. That is Evan Freiberger's head mod. She does, Evan Freiberger does weather forecasts and stuff. Y'all should go check him out on YouTube, by the way. Anytime there is severe weather, you can count on him. He has a Discord you can go into, everything. It's weather chat, things like that. and he's very, very on top of him and his team keeping people safe, weather safe. So I highly recommend him, Evan Freiberger. Check out his YouTube channel. And that is my girl Blondie, his moderator. It's good to see you, Blondie. And then we have, of course, I don't. Jennifer, are you still in here, beautiful?
Yes.
No, Jennifer Henny Hole.
No, I got
Henny ho, henny ho.
Jim. You gotta make up a nickname for me.
Right? And then
Henny
Wlat.
ho said she took sleep meds and she was getting sleepy.
Hey, Wlat. It is so good to see you, Walt. I should say because that's actually your name. Oh, she said she's getting ready for bed. Jennifer
Yeah,
did.
she took
So
some sleep meds.
yeah. Okay. So Lat says, I'm just chilling. And then Jennifer and Connie's in here. And okay. All right. I think we've got everyone caught up. And she said, also, heat drones can, oh, the booty absorbs heat still. She said, also, okay. So she says, I took sleepy meds, but do we know when person would have been deceased versus drones? Um, that's the whole thing. We don't know
We don't
exactly
know. Yeah.
when.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So also heat drones can pick up on a deceased body in certain temps,
Yep.
even after even after death due to sun and heat.
Heat. Yes.
That is very interesting, Jennifer.
That's what. Yeah. That's what Gil was saying.
The body absorbs heat.
Heat. Yes.
Still. Huh.
Yes.
So it would stand out from the outside areas because it absorbs the heat. So whenever the landscape cools at night, you would still see someone.
You would still see something.
Right.
Right.
Right. Mm. Cool. That's awesome to know. Jennifer Henny Hole, you got to be tired. I saw a message from this.
Yeah, I saw a message she put in Discord, and she just a general message to everybody, commenting. And I don't remember exactly, but it was like way, way early.
So, like, this has me stumped, you guys. This has me stumped. Like, how could you go out here and search all this other area?
I mean, I would have thought the first place to look would have been around the campsite.
Now, when they said they
Right.
searched, how many people approximately would be involved in it? So I'm just curious.
Well, we didn't get a genuine number, did we? We didn't.
I mean, but just a ballpark. What would you think? And I don't mean it's what they had.
I have no numbers to go on. That's the whole thing. I don't have
it could
any
be from
numbers.
a few, not many, to a whole lot more than you think. I don't know. I just don't.
Well, we know we have 200 hours.
Right.
From his department, 200 hours.
Yeah.
So now with this right here, you guys, do y'all see what I'm saying though? Like, it just blows my mind. Like, I don't know how to, like, that's kind of hard to grasp, right?
Yeah.
How can
they not see her?
Exactly.
The train doesn't look that imposing or overgrown at all. To me, the worst thing you would probably have was a little the water if it were up, a couple feet. But that's not enough to be the body to be under. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like there'd be a lot of hiding place. But that's just what I'm thinking in my head from what I've seen.
Well, if they flew the drone, like I said, if they flew the drone, not only the thermal drone, the drone I got at 150 foot, you can read a tag off of it. If they run a grid on the drone, that should have spotted her.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a lot. Yeah, that don't make any sense.
It's odd.
It's very odd.
It's odd to say the least. Correct?
It is.
It's odd.
But in the same sense, so you hear all these things they did do. It seems like they're checking all the boxes and doing what you would expect. I mean, they weren't just.
I promise you, they done more there than they done for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to give the benefit there because I don't like to get totally cynical all the time. But you have questions, you get that alert in your mind, and you could be right, you could be wrong.
Yep.
That one there.
They'll either have a real good explanation, it'll
right?
make
Y'all are
sense, or they
seeing this
won't.
late. Y'all are seeing this lake, right? It's like
Yeah,
Yeah.
squared. You can tell it's
man-made.
man-made.
Yeah.
Um, and then it's fields, you guys. It's fields. It's fields.
I imagine that lake's probably a reservoir for the farmers.
And I was gonna say all them fields that are plowed, I imagine
Yep.
they're able to draw water out of that. I would
Yeah.
think. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
And then
exactly.
you got Big Lake right here, right?
Yep.
And then you've got the Black River up here.
Yep.
So they searched, listen to this, you guys. They searched all this riverway, right? For her. And all of these waterways for her up here, right? All of this, right?
Yeah.
I've seen the map. Wilby, you've seen the map.
Yeah. Well, you think if she was there, one of her activities, if she went out on her own, would maybe be to maybe. And I'm not saying she canoed, but you'd have to go somewhere, and the waterway would be where it would. You would
But
think the
listen to
person
what
would
I'm telling
navigate
you.
towards.
Listen to what I'm telling you. Her family found her clothes and belongings scattered in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Like, who was out here doing these searches?
Her brother
Who's
was out there every day. Is what he said.
right?
In
But
that,
no, listen to what I'm saying to you. Whose bright idea was it to search the rivers to the north
yeah,
instead of the area where
last
she
seen
went
that
missing?
and move outward.
Right.
Seems like they went outward and were
And
working
yeah,
back towards the.
I have questions. I have questions.
It depends on where they found her, but it's very possible they could have been. I mean, 'cause we're going through the same thing. The officers could have been keeping them away, concealing them from the actual area.
allegedly.
And they said she was found like just right there off of the
Well,
actual
that's the only
campground.
southwest area of that lake that she could have been hidden in those fields.
Exactly.
She's obviously going to be found even in the fields. She's got to be in that little square wooded area to the left, to the west, and the south of the lake. That's
Yep.
I would
Right in
think,
here somewhere is
and
what
that's
I'm
not
thinking.
that big of an area. Really.
No, it's not.
No.
I mean, you're only talking about look at the legend says 1,000 feet is what? It's not even 1,000 feet. A little about 2,000
Well,
feet
no,
across from that road to that left
we
side.
know that the lake is 2 miles across, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that
Exactly.
is less than
Less
a
than 2.
square mile area that she
I'm going
was
to tell you
in.
exactly what it is.
It would have been a little less than a square mile area.
I'm going to tell you how many acres that entire block is. It's 344 acres. That little
Yep.
square that comes down in that corner
Yep.
of that lake
Yep.
fills around. And that's
So if we're to believe that if we're to believe this is her, right, which we don't know yet, but in order to believe that this is her, this girl would have had to have been in this area closest to where she went missing for a month while they searched 25,000 acres and investigated her boyfriend, right?
Right.
yeah.
And civilians found her, mind you, with a detective, apparently.
I mean,
This,
she could where she was found might not have been very far at all from where she camped. Is what I'm thinking.
yeah, me too. That's
I
exactly
mean, it
what
ain't
I'm
like
That's
she was
what
way,
it-
way away.
yeah,
It's
that's
like
what it
she wasn't
sounds
very
like.
far away at all, really.
like. There's nowhere else she could really be unless she was in one of these fields,
That's it. I mean,
and they would say,
go out.
right? They said a wooded area near her
Yeah.
campground, right? So she has to be somewhere right in through here.
Yeah.
How many extra block is them trees?
I think it said like
Look, we'll measure that. 1,000 feet, right?
I've
Here's
got
the
it
legend
measured,
down
and
here.
share it with you. You'll see it.
Here's
All of
1,000 feet. So I'm going to say about a 2,500 square foot area, maybe
I'm
at
going to show you
most.
something here. If you want to look at it, you can pull it up.
Yeah, what it is will be
Uh,
what it is.
Where
Where are you
that's
showing
the
it?
lake. I want to do the other one. Why is it showing the lake?
Do you want to present screen? You know, you can do it
I'm
on.
doing. I'm trying to, but it's showing where I presented where I measured the lake versus this last measurement. Why I don't know. We'll try it. Let me try it again here. I'm gonna cancel. I'm gonna go back. Share. Present.
Oh,
Okay.
Connie, I'm
There it
sending
is. There it
prayers
is, right
for
there.
you.
You can see. That's.
You guys,
You see what?
y'all
Is
send
it up
out
now?
prayers.
Is it up now?
Yeah, I had to add it
Yeah,
to
it's not
stage, but I
showing the
had it.
area, but I did it in acres.
Yeah.
I think it showed.
Right.
If I go back to the page itself, it's not showing. It's just underneath there. The thing. It's like three. What did I say a while ago? 300.
Like 340.
Yeah, that's what it was. And that's pretty daggone accurate there. Now, when you measure the lake, you might be off
Right, a little bit.
40 acres, 50. I don't know a certain percentage, but she's got to be right there. And then the campground. Let me ask you this: it runs. If you go right to the east, kind of that, almost like a 45, the way it goes up in there. That the campground is like up in that around that side of the lake. Is any of it to the left of that road that goes in that wooded area that I've got shown measured?
I don't know.
Or
I'm
does it
going to
all
go
run?
out
You
there.
understand? That'd be interesting to know. 'Cause but
I do want to go out there. I'm thinking about like going out there and just getting a general sense of the area. I don't want to get like I said, they could still have a crime scene there, and I don't want to be like taking any pictures or anything of a crime scene. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
you could
saying?
get a
Yeah.
general area and describe it where you could answer all
Right.
of
Well, I can go out there and I can look around and make sure I'm not interfering with any kind of investigation,
yeah.
and then
You'll be
I
able to
can
come back
be.
and look at the map and point out to all of us where here's the camp area
Well,
from here to
if
here.
I go scope it out, I'll be able to go live and take y'all with me and walk around and show
There you
y'all
go.
if they're
Yeah,
not
there you
got
go.
an open scene and stuff. You know
I
what I'm
just like to know
saying?
what the
So,
vegetation looks like under the trees.
There you go.
right, there's not. And oh, let me see. That's something I meant to. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I probably done closed it like a goober. Hold on just a second. Um, I've got so many windows open. Y'all give me just a minute.
I do too. I got a gazillion of
Uh,
them.
let me see which one of these it was on. I think it was WJK. Let me see if this is the one with the video. Hold on a second. Sorry.
Yeah, that's not a big lake at all. I mean, it's you got your major reservoirs and impoundments people fish in. That's kind of off. I would think off the beaten path kind of lake, but still people like to go to those areas so they don't get
Okay.
run over by all the traffic on them other
Yeah,
lakes.
well, it's less than a 2,000 square foot area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So here we go. Y'all, my house is like 2,000 square feet. I mean, it's over 2,000 square feet, but like 2,000 square feet is the size of a house. Y'all realize that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's not a big area at all.
Especially if I put a grid up.
Right.
Mm-mm-mm. So hold on a second. Let me pull this up now. Wildy, I'm gonna have to. Are you done with the measurement thing?
Yeah, I'm done measuring. Can you not see it?
Yeah, thank
It
you.
doesn't show under area on my view before I share it. It shows the number and it's 300 and some acres.
Okay.
That little
Did I
rectangle.
pull up the right thing? Are we seeing this?
I don't know. Let me see what you got pulled up.
Um,
I can't tell.
It's a
No.
commercial.
yeah,
It's a commercial. Hold on.
Now, what it's going to be, it's going to be an area with little dots or little thing around the perimeter of the wooded area that's left and west and runs the west side of the lake.
Come
And the
on,
road
don't do
runs right
that
by
to
the
me,
lake, and then to the
commercial.
left of that.
Don't do that to me, commercial. Come on, play. There it goes.
My opioid abuse spiraled.
It's a commercial, so give me just a second.
It all started with my surgery.
Okay. Check this out.
We're back on Live at 9. Now, here's Kanji.
Movie buffs may remember the
This
1996
is
film
not
Bronx Tale, which was
the
directed
report.
and starred.
What is going on here?
There's actually a book and a play by the same name, as well as a musical.
Okay, what's going on here? That has nothing to do with the case.
I know what I think happened has happened to me before.
My name is Wayne. I'm a father and a grandfather.
What is even going on, news
What's that
channel?
on the right side
Yeah,
screen
that
there?
was
There
that
you go.
on
There
the
you go.
right.
There you go. Right there.
There it
Yeah.
is. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay.
That's what I thought happened.
So let me make this one big.
There you go.
It all started with my
Okay, and
surgery.
rewind.
Body addiction was hard.
Here we go.
This is going to
And
show us some
mute.
stuff here. This is going to show us a little
Hold
bit
on a second, you guys. I have to figure out how to mute the stupid one.
here.
Okay, there it goes. Here we go. Here we go.
This is going to show us something that you'll
Yep.
be able to get some information.
Look, this is going to show you the area and stuff.
New
Watch.
details at 6. Skeletal remains have been found near the spot where a woman vanished while on a solo camping trip last month. WRG's Harrison Klopp has more on the discovery from Greene County, Arkansas.
Skeletal remains found near Lake Ashball yesterday by a Greene County detective and a member of a civilian search party. The Greene County Sheriff's Department has not identified who was found, saying in a statement, quote, until further investigation is learned from the crime lab, no information will be released. Last month, WREG's Mike Sirianni reported on the disappearance of Jessica.
You should have been walked through there and amateur could have found her.
You can tell that these trees are regularly cut out and cleaned out from under.
Well, they're scrub pines too, and when you get in areas like that around on land, they don't generally get like it's a lot of clay soil. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Don't.
So y'all are seeing this, right? Like
Yeah,
you can
I mean,
see.
you can walk through there. A child can walk through there and look at everything.
Right.
It ain't like you need an advanced
search
team to
party.
do it. I mean, you know, there's probably a few areas more. I'm sure more than this, but that right there, you can walk side by side, so many feet apart with about 20, 30 people, and cover a lot of ground real quick.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
you
And
could
I know
knock
I've
out
done
a
this
whole
with
big
search.
search area in one day and eliminate stuff. You know, just keep eliminating. And you would think if you look at these areas and you were going to eliminate those type areas quickly, it's got to be pinned down to just a few areas that maybe are a little thicker. I don't know. It just don't make sense. But I'm not a searcher.
The only thing I see that could have hindered them, like I said, is maybe the lake was above flood level.
Yeah, they couldn't. Unless they had waivers, they couldn't have gone through some of it.
If they had all of her belongings, they should have had a good smell on her. Them dogs should have found her if she was there. I mean, they should have got her.
I agree with that.
Them dogs, they're pretty good when they get.
Yeah, they're great.
Well, not only that, but if with it raining and stuff, it would have been keeping her scent fresh.
Well, that and they had all of her belongings on the ground that had her scent on it. If
So
they smell her, they should have went straight to her.
So in other words, with that much clothing and that much smell, them dogs would have locked dead in on that smell and then been hunting country. They'd been hunting country through. I can hear them now.
Good night, Jennifer. Good night,
night,
sweetie. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So do y'all see what I'm saying though? Like this stuff is weird, you guys. This case.
A group of Boy Scouts could have knocked out.
So Gil,
50 acres of that right there by themselves.
So Gil, I just want to ask you a question because you've been in CID and stuff, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So is it procedural to like not like comb this area the most? Like, is it normal to search rivers to the north and stuff whenever you've got a lake and an area she was in and her stuff being found in the woods, like her clothing?
No, they should have started from
her tent
where she was last seen, her tent, and it should have been searched from there
outward.
Yep.
Correct. That's what you would think, right? That's what I like. That's what I would think would be the best place.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Them dogs, if she was there then and them dogs was out there, they would have hit on it.
It makes you wonder what kind of team of dogs they put on.
It just depends. If they brought the dogs in from the state pen, there's two different kinds of dogs.
There's scent specific and then there's general scent.
Exactly. Yes. So I don't know what they brought in, but the dogs from the prison, I hate to say it, they're not real good. Now the state police has got a couple of cadaver dogs and stuff that are very good.
Another question it begs to me is was law enforcement organizing this search and pushing this party north towards that Black River or whatever I think is what it's called, away from this area? That's my question.
That's what I got on my mind.
Go over there, and if they'd said that, that's what they would have had to do.
Now, you want to hear something crazy? Whenever we did our search for Anthony Shane Scott, it seemed like they kept pushing us away from the area
Yeah.
that he was intentionally. It's almost like they don't, like they want to be the ones to call me crazy for saying it like this, but it's almost like they don't want members of the public to be the ones to find someone in something. And I understand that from a crime scene perspective, right?
Yep.
But then again, whenever it comes to a missing person lost out in the woods, finding them, time is of the essence.
That's
Exactly.
exactly right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm torn, if that makes sense. I'm torn.
Well, what we run into, and I'm not going to go too much into it. I got nose to nose with the state trooper, like got in a fist fight with him out there because he was trying to push us a totally different direction. I mean, I'm not only a cop; I'm a country boy. I grew up in them woods.
That's right. You know.
You know. That's right. And I just told him straight up, if that's the way he thought he wanted to run things, him and all of his buddies could get going.
Yeah.
And, but it's that you're
'Cause
exactly
they-
right,
yeah.
Regina.
I mean, because they pushed us away.
Yeah, they done 2 or 3 of my buddies like that. It was out there.
The only
Yeah,
reason I could see them going that direction is if that person they interviewed, or
Right, the
Right.
witness.
said,
Well,
"Hey,
they-
she said she was going to go up to that river, meet somebody, go canoeing." Or I don't, we don't know that, but that's
Nope.
something like that could have been pushed them to go that direction, somewhat. But still, you'd have had a core crew right there, right where she's at. Start there.
Right.
Yeah.
Go northwest, east, south from that area, from that tent.
Yep.
And
So check this out, and just speculation and theory. But what if the night that the police called, because they said they had an interview right there with the people at the store, right? Someone, a witness or something that had seen her.
right.
What if the night that she got spooked and thought someone was at her campsite, someone was there, but the cops showing up, sent them packing for the night, right?
That's possible.
And then the next night, they got her.
Yeah, possibly.
If that's what's
possible.
going
Good
on
theory.
here.
Right. It's a good theory.
Well, they knew she was out there by herself, so that's a
Yes.
good possibility.
Hopefully, they went back through old reports, because if a person was out there doing that, that's not the first time they've done it. They've failed several times probably, and then done it several others. So there's big reports where somebody, hey, a suspicious guy here, come up on us, blah blah blah, and maybe they can look at find some information there. I don't know.
That bait
Well,
shop.
I'm going to say that there are reports I've heard of where other people have been at local parks in northern Greene County and had people try sneaking up on them in ski mask. And also there are reports of some odd experiences with law enforcement from people being posted that I've seen with wildlife officers and stuff. And I don't know what that's worth, and I don't know what that means.
Right.
But I do hope and I pray that they do a thorough investigation,
Yeah.
a thorough
Yeah.
investigation. And if the family is out here finding her belongings and civilians are finding the body,
Somebody missed something.
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah,
And I
there's
can't
something there.
overlook that.
And if you've got somebody going to that area and on a regular basis scouting for opportunities to do something nefarious or peep at people or whatever,
Right.
The game warden, those people, they know who's in and out of there. They probably got a good idea if there's a person of that nature.
Yep.
They might have a good idea if they've run across him before.
Yep. So I want to finish playing this video real quick, and then we're going to keep discussing it. But I want to get this video finished and show y'all because it shows more of the area, right?
Right.
So, okay.
A 32-year-old Paragould resident, originally from Munford, Tennessee, who had gone missing after she was camping alone near Lake Ashball in northeast Arkansas. Kemp was last seen on May 5th. Kemp's family was searching extensively for her across Greene County, hoping she was still alive.
Somebody may have taken her. At this time, we just don't know. I just want her found alive, and I want her to come home.
Police were able to find Kemp's abandoned car with her purse and items scattered inside, but there was no sign of Kemp. Again, no confirmation if the skeletal remains were Kemp's, and we will let you know when the Greene County Sheriff's Department has released new findings in their investigation. From Greene County, Arkansas, I'm Harrison Clapp for your news leader, WREG News Channel 3.
I can tell you we did
Okay, now you guys, here comes the part that's going to make you mad. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to Mr. Black's video, right? And again, all credit goes to One Crime TV. The link is in the description below. I am going to get, because we've already gone over the police line and everything else. But look, I want to show y'all something in his video, okay? Right here. Let me go to it. I can show y'all. Hold on. Let me find it. Here it is. Do y'all see that on the screen?
That grid?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That's the area they searched for her.
Wow.
Good lord.
Okay, look at that lake. Okay, the lake is the yellow part. I got you. They ain't even nowhere near where
Not near.
No, they didn't even go where.
they didn't even go there. They didn't even touch it.
Look, the yellow is the boat. Are y'all paying attention?
Mm-hmm.
The yellow's
The
the boat.
yellow is the boat.
So
The
that's all water.
green
That's all
is
river
the
waterway.
ATV. So they got on four-wheelers
Okay.
and rode that, the green part. And then the orange part, and this is from the Facebook page from the Greene County Sheriff's Department of their search area, right? And this is the foot search area, this little orange area. That's what they searched by foot.
So it would be right there where they supposedly searched on foot.
Right.
Unless she was found just right here,
right
where my mouse is, right?
Yeah.
That they didn't. Why would they not search the campgrounds themselves?
Right, exactly.
That's where they should have started at.
Do y'all see what I'm saying now? Why this looks weird to me?
Looks like they searched everything but where
the campgrounds.
Yeah.
The campgrounds.
Yeah, let's go about a mile or so over here.
Do y'all see what I'm saying though? How odd this is?
Well, the way they searched it, I mean, there's no rhyme for reason. I mean, it's just they're just
all over.
They're about going in circles.
Yeah, I mean that's nuts.
Right. It's crazy.
Who camps there?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They have to have records of who checks in and who doesn't.
Right.
So again,
Her brother is a solid guy.
I take no credit for this video. My channel is not monetized. I'm only bringing you these stories going on in Arkansas and for families and things like that. And so now, because there is no other source for this interview except for Mr. Black from One Crime TV. And the link is in the description below. You guys, please go sub up to him and tell him I sent you. I would greatly appreciate it.
Okay.
Right.
But here's an interview, and we're going to pause and talk about it some, throughout the interview. But this is the part that's going to make you guys mad because it made me mad. It's going to stir something in you when you hear what this family has gone through and what they've been told.
How they were treated.
Yep. So I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. Okay, it's only on one. It's already on 1.25 because he takes his time and talks, and because he's upset. So I sped it up a little bit. But let's listen to this. Okay.
This is Daryl Kemp. I want to say once again, thank you for the opportunity. So to begin, I'd like to talk about who Paige is, where she's from, and what she means. We were born and raised around Memphis, Tennessee, a little town called Mumford. And we grew up hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, right there with each other through thick and thin. No matter what, we went through it. We went through it together. We always loved nature. We grew up with some woods behind our house out there, and we would go out there and swing on vines and take sleds, even in the summertime, and sled down the hills. We'd get hurt, we'd have fun, and we'd learn our lessons. She was always very happy and loving, just nourishing, selfless, and just loved to spread kindness every chance she got. There was really nobody that she didn't get along with. Everybody thinks very highly of her. And, well, she's just the sweetest, kindest soul that I've ever met. And it is an honor to call her my sister. Paige loved to collect rocks, as well as any kind of quartz, crystals, agates, fossils, things of the sort. She's a free spirit, and she loves animals. She has a dog, a lab mix, Lily. And Lily's getting on up there in age. And, it hasn't all been easy. We went through some things as teenagers. We lost our father to cancer. I believe she was 13 when he was diagnosed, and he battled with it for 5 years before it took him. Needless to say, that was very rough. She was 18 at the time of his passing, and she was a daddy's girl. You know, he was her protector. He was her everything. He meant a lot to me too. Our dad was a really good guy, and physically, mentally, it affected all of us. She was caring for our grandfather, and one day she found him. I was there as well, but she just so happened to walk in the room first. That's something else that really affected her mentally and physically, as well as it did me. But she always helped me carry strength because I had to be strong for her. You know, she's my sister. And so the last time she was seen alive was May 5th. It was by a Greene County Sheriff's deputy by the name of Brian Tillman. She had made a distress call in, and she claimed that there was somebody in her campsite and or under her car. And so Brian Tillman showed up on scene, and this is his recollection because there is no body cam, and we have yet to hear back on dash cam. We have filed the Freedom of Information Act, and we are waiting to hear back on that. It has been over a week. So he arrived on scene, and he said in the report she was in distress. You know, she was hallucinating. And she had stated to him that she had recently abruptly came off of her prescription medication, as well as using illicit drugs. As far as we know, it goes back to September of 2024, her using drugs. And it just kind of goes hand in hand with things that she's been through. You know, I know life's hard. It gets tough. But you got to hang in there. You know, you can't let yourself get lost. So he reported all that, and he, you know, called in for an ambulance, AMMC, I believe, out of Paragould, Arkansas.
Okay, let me slow it down right here because this is where he's getting to the really important stuff, okay?
And they are in Delaplane out of Bay.
Oh my goodness. We got an ad. Okay.
Drugs. As far as we know, it goes back to September of 2024. Her using drugs.
So did y'all hear that?
Mm-hmm.
2024. She hadn't been using very long. She was not someone who was out here a lost cause drug
I don't
addict.
think she was that far along.
I don't either.
I know enough about it. I've been there and done that.
Yeah, because it takes a while. If you live in this area, you know how this stuff is.
Yep.
You know how people behave. You know how the addiction goes, right? If you live in Northeast Arkansas, you've had a family member that was addicted to amphetamines. Okay, it's just that simple.
And not only that, the dope ain't real dope anymore like it used to be. It don't take you down as quick as the old red phosphorus dope and all of that.
Let me tell you, the meth is in North Carolina. Forever they said the meth was coming east to North Carolina. It was out more than y'all's area. Finally made it to North Carolina. I don't know how many years back. The meth here right now is so pharmaceutical grade and cheap. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Right. Yep.
And I'm talking about Walter White.
Yep. Well, we got all this ice in here now, and it's.
Yep.
I mean, people eat and sleep on it.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yep. Okay. So just take note of that. She was not just out there lost cause on drugs. Okay. That's not the narrative that's being painted is kind of messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a little off kilter from what the family is saying. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Drugs. And it just kind of goes hand in hand with things that she's been through. You know, I know life's hard. It gets tough. But you got to hang in there. You know, you can't let yourself get lost. So he reported all that, and he, you know, called in for an ambulance, AMMC, I believe, out of Paragould, Arkansas. And they are in Delaplane out by Lake Ashball, which is approximately an hour away, solid 45 minutes if you speed. The ambulance got canceled en route. We have not been able to find out why or anything. We cannot get any answers to any questions we have. Last time I saw her alive was May 4th. she came over early in the morning, and we hung out for about 13 hours that day, and we went fishing.
Bless his heart.
Ain't nothing like going fishing.
Sorry, Justin.
With your
Second,
family.
man. Last time I saw her alive was May 4th. We hung out for about 13 hours that day, and we went fishing.
Okay, so
We-
take note of that. She was last seen by her brother on May the 4th, the day before the phone call to 911 that someone was messing around her campsite. But there's no foul play suspected, you guys. There's no foul play suspected. Okay? Remember that.
We talked, we laughed, we cried, but we had a good day. I was seeing very vague signs that she may be experiencing some sort of mental distress, for lack of a better term, that I had not, I mean, I just thought, it's rough. Life gets rough. I know I was going through some things myself, but I really wish I would have picked up more on it, thinking back, but I didn't. And needless to say, we had a really good day. And she left my place at approximately 8 o'clock at night on the 4th. I couldn't get her to stay, I did everything.
8 o'clock
but
at night
she
on
wanted
the
to go
4th.
camping. She wanted to go back out there and go camping. I love her. She's 32 years old. She's an independent lady. And she's left my place around 8 that evening. And, I called her. I texted her daily. The phone that I was using at the time is now at the Greene County Sheriff's Office, held for a data dump evidence, But
So they have everyone's phone that was around her. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
I messaged her, and the thing was, she had broken her phone, her primary phone. So her only means of communicating was getting a hold of some Wi-Fi and sending a message. And I had strained her, Paige, even if you just send me a thumbs up to let me know that you're okay, that's enough for me. I was so concerned about her, and rightfully so, looking back. But so, that happened. The 4th through, I believe it to be it was the 13th, I know. The last time I had tried to reach out to her, and then the next day we all got together and realized that she hadn't talked to anybody and that she had not been using her.
So did y'all pay attention to that?
I
The
wonder when they
13th,
were
the
expecting
family
her.
realized.
Yeah, I wonder when they were expecting her back, basically. By the 14th, obviously, she was later than anything, but
Well,
they never did say a date
evidently,
that they thought that she.
evidently they thought that it was going to be a week-long camping trip, right?
So it'd
I
been
mean,
the 5th
that's
to the
kind of,
12th. So add a
yeah, the
couple
13th
additional
she
days.
hadn't showed back up, so they reported her missing to the Craighead County Sheriff's Office, right? Or the 14th they reported it. They went out there to look, right? I guess.
Yeah. So everything gets kicked in by the 15th, and you got the 15th, and then we're 11 days in this month.
15th
You
to
got
the
basically
10th.
15, 16 days, and plus 11 days. It's just.
Yeah. Well, you have 10 days. If you start at you have to start at the 14th, because that is when they first went out there and took photos and said, okay, her stuff's scattered, yada yada yada, all her stuff's here, right? And then you have the 15th, the family they actually start the search, right? Or the 14th they started the search. The 15th was whenever they kept working with the flyers and all that in that area. We went, we've gone over the whole timeline, but they didn't search. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm having a hard time with this one. I don't understand. I don't, and maybe my sense of protocol is wrong because I'm not a police officer, but they didn't search where she went missing from. I'm having a hard time grasping how this girl was in these woods or at this lake in this small area for 30 plus days without being found where she originally went missing from. It just, I guess I can see it overlooking someone, but it's hard to grasp. Does that make sense?
Yep.
With cadaver dogs and everything? I mean, okay.
How
So let's let's continue. He's got a few more things that are important I want y'all to hear, and this is the part that made me mad.
Her debit card. We looked into it and put two and two together. So I reported a missing persons the morning of May 14th, approximately 9:30 in the morning. They found her car, to my knowledge, around 12:30 that afternoon, the same day of the 14th. They found it. All the doors were open. The trunk was open. It was wide open. Her belongings were strewed about the campground. Her car had been ransacked, and her tent was in a state of disarray.
But no, let me make this clear to you guys.
Again?
The 14th. The 14th. Let me make this clear to you guys, though. But there was no foul play suspected. None.
I don't see how they can determine that.
Yeah, that's crazy. All that stuff strode about, and they got no explanation how it got strode about.
Okay,
went down.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it from this angle, right? Suppose this is someone's home, and someone has gone missing from their home. And the police go in, and all of their stuff is scattered everywhere, and their front door is open, their back door is open, and their windows are open, and all their stuff scattered everywhere. Are you going to tell me the cops are going to say no foul play?
All right.
Are you going to go in someone's house that's missing, or go to where they're laying their head at night and see all of their stuff scattered everywhere, and that person is missing, but you don't suspect anything? Are you kidding me? If I'm wrong, someone please correct me.
It's almost the opposite. I mean, there was no foul play. No, the clothes were thrown everybody. People just don't throw their clothes up in the air and throw them all around the campground. Something went down. We got to find out what.
Yeah, something happened here, in my opinion. I don't know what, but something has happened. So let's continue to listen, though. There's more.
She also had belongings about 100 yards or 300 feet away from her campsite, tucked up against the tree area, little bundle of trees. Personal items, a backpack with, her jewelry and some of her quartz crystals in there and things that she would not give up or leave behind. May 5th, the responding officer was a Greene County Sheriff's Officer, Brian Tillman, and we could not schedule a sit down because he works nights, and that was literally their reason, because he works nights. The last contact we had with Paige was May 6th. My mom, Sandy Kemp, had messaged her and gotten a reply. I believe that to be the 5th, but possibly 6th.
Ever wondered what your home looks like from space? Enter your address.
Not particularly, no. I've never wondered what my house looks like.
No, I'd say it looked very small, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's what I was just
like
thinking.
a pinhead dot, and that's if you had a daggone nuclear.
That she was safe and that she loved everybody and she was okay. She was having fun camping. She was, getting away from everything, and she was enjoying life, which I could totally understand. You should be able to do that freely without a fear of coming up missing and trying to be swept under the rug, dismissed. Anybody deserves more than this. So, and as far as the drug history, it was late September of 2024. We had found out that she had been using illicit drugs. Not had been for a long time, but just, it come to the surface. And at the time, before leading up to her missing, she had been to treatment centers, rehabilitation clinics, and we believed that she was battling, she was fighting the fight, and she was getting back in control of everything. And I know that's tough. I stayed with her for a while to help, look out, be there for her, everything I could do. And she seemed to be really working her way back, to getting back on track and being happy. And we were very close to Paige. We all were. Like I said, we would talk to each other and just, I would say, hey, brother, have you talked to mom? Or I would, it's just, that's how we network, sort of, kind of, because we have, none of us live any closer than 30 minutes to each other. And my mom stays in another state. She's in Tennessee. And that is completely false.
Hold on. I accidentally skipped. Sorry, guys.
None of us live any closer than 30 minutes to each other. And my mom stays in another state. She's in Tennessee. And You know, it's just very abnormal for her to not reach out. I know the update the Greene County Sheriff's Office has released mentions that it's normal for her to go weeks or months without contact, and that is completely false. I have no idea where they got that evidence, that idea. It was not from us. We have been from the beginning emphasizing how close we are and how strange it is that Mother's Day came and went. Paige
Are
didn't,
y'all
she
hearing
didn't see her.
this?
My
Yeah.
birthday was May 22nd.
You don't forget
My mom's
Mother's
birthday
Day.
was May 25th.
Oh my God, my birthday is the 22nd.
Especially if your mother's the only living parent you got left.
Yeah.
You damn sure.
Are y'all hearing this? Are
Yep.
y'all hearing this? This family knew something was wrong, you guys. They absolutely, and that kind of contradicts what the police department is saying. I have to agree with this family a little bit. They were close. They knew something was wrong
Yeah.
just a few days in. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I talking really loud, you guys? I'm really.
Nah,
I know
you're
I'm
fine.
partially deaf, so if I get loud, y'all please forgive
Well,
me.
you're partially. I am deaf, so I got you there. Nah, I mean, how they
So
could
it's
make
kind of like none
close
of what
everything.
we're hearing is what's I mean, the family is counterclaiming this.
We got law enforcement presenting one narrative for maybe for
Right.
their purposes, you think, and then you got family who's just presenting what they got nothing but the truth they want to work with.
Right, and I
They
understand
don't
it.
align at all.
Right, and listen, we're going to play the rest of this, and then we're going to get into we're going to talk about a little bit more of y'all's case and everything, Jennifer, because it kind of all ties in together really here in
Yeah, I want to
Arkansas.
hear that because I'm
Yep.
I'm behind on that. And I'm
Yep.
interested in that.
Okay, so let's finish this because I want y'all to hear what this man says, because as an independent journalist, you would not believe how many families I have heard cops and prosecutors talk bad about, and how many families I have heard very similar things said to them. As a matter of fact, I have a recording of the prosecuting attorney out of Forest City, Arkansas, and the police department telling a family they're going to close their loved one's case.
Yep.
Because they're asking questions. So I want y'all to hear this, because think about this. In the interviews I did with the calls I played, or with the recordings I played from the prosecuting attorney's office and the police department in Forest City, Arkansas, think about that and keep that in mind when you hear what you're fixing to hear with her family and the police, okay?
Paige would not go out one of those days without getting in touch with us. She would not. Her birthday is May the 3rd. And well, it just kind of takes me back to how thankful I am I got to see her on the 4th. Because I didn't get to see her on her birthday. You know, it had been a little over a week since I got to actually physically hug her and talk to her, before the 4th. So that is a blessing. I will cherish that forever. And
sorry, you guys, I had to kind of mute because someone has a little bit of feedback.
Oh, I think it might be me. Hold on, let me mute it.
I'll mute mine too. I don't think it's me, but I'll mute just.
Okay. I just wanted to let you guys know why I was muting. I wasn't trying to be rude or anything.
No, it's fine. You need to know anytime somebody's mic or something's not good.
All right. So here we go.
Another thing that the Greene County Sheriff's Office has been pushing is the fiance. His name is Hayden Rayburn. And I don't really understand why he's being, I understand that people may be concerned and they may have their own conspiracy theories, but it seems like it's just, he's being very attacked and it is relentless. It's just from the inside looking out, he has nothing to do with this. Peyton is a good guy.
Okay, let me stop it right there for a second because I want to say something. The last time I heard family members speak this way about their loved one's boyfriend or girlfriend or ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend was Steve Calvacantes in the Idaho 4 case. Do y'all remember what he said? There's no way there's no way. Y'all remember that? Hello, Humphrey.
That was the redheaded boyfriend that they had at first. They questioned.
Yep.
Yeah, they said no. They were
right.
schoolmates.
So here we have a family that's saying, "Look, we don't suspect this dude at all. We don't know why they're attacking him." Right. And but at the same time, the cops are saying no foul play, and they're not searching like this. All of this is just so
many questions that are raised.
Right. So Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We're very close. We have actually all been staying together, me, Peyton, and my mother. And when we're not out there looking and searching, we're doing whatever we can to help spread the word. So it is and has been some 20-hour days with little sleep and forcing ourselves to eat. Because if you don't eat, you can't be sharp. You're not worth, you're liable to get out there and fall out. It's getting warm and it's not easy walking through weeds as tall as me.
Yep.
Yesterday,
That's a
walked up on a
fact.
cottonmouth, a water moccasin. So
Yep.
to reiterate, Peyton is not a suspect. Peyton is out here with us. Peyton is involved 100%. And besides that fact, I know Peyton. I've known Peyton for 11 years. Peyton is not guilty. Peyton loves Paige as much as we do. Peyton is family. So I just wanted to state that fact. And so on May 11th, this is one of the days that the Greene County Sheriff's Office told us about again. We cannot get body cam footage. They stated there is 0 body cam footage for any interaction with Paige. And the dash cam footage, like I said, we filed a Freedom of Information Act, I believe to be a little over a week ago. And we have not heard anything back. When we do, we will be in touch. So yeah, on May 11th, they found, they supposedly did a checkup, after May 5th. They had a May 9th date, as a checkup, and then a May 11th as a checkup. So May 9th, I believe that, she wasn't on site. I don't have the report right here in front of me, but I do not believe she was on site. It was kind of just like but on May 11th, they found her car. Obviously, but they said that there was a man rummaging through her car.
Hold on. Let me go back just a second. Okay.
But on May 11th, they found her car and the campsite in a state of, everything was spread out and it had been gone through, obviously. But they said that there was a man rummaging through her car and her belongings, going through her stuff. And that was Jenna Owen, the Greene County Sheriff's deputy that reported that day. And she said that he was looking for Jessica Kemp. And just something that, hits our ticker is it's Paige. It's not Jessica. If you're familiar with her, her name is Paige. But if you're going through
But there's no foul play suspected, you guys. Keep this in mind.
But he's just out there rummaging around
through her stuff.
I mean, that
sounds like a real upstanding character, right? Out there going through someone's belongings in the woods. Like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Let me tell you what. If I come across...
They make your clothes. Leave
Hey, tiniest squish.
Yeah.
So this is right, but y'all see where I'm going with this, right? It sounds like there's absolutely no reason to suspect a crime if you go to someone's house and there's someone in it rummaging through all their stuff and they are a missing person. You see what I'm saying, right? Like,
you're saying what we thought from the very start. I mean,
it's
not that anybody was guilty of anything, but that at the
this
very
seems
least
weird.
they need to eliminate this. The law enforcement and the closest people right to the thing right off the bat.
Right.
Exactly.
Then we move out because I mean that's the last person with that girl alone that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
And his activities were a little sus to the average person, maybe more to someone like Gil that knows. But certainly there's a lot of questions to be answered, and maybe they can give us a narrative in a 30-minute news conference that throws them all to sleep.
That's
we don't know. You hope they would. And with transparency, but you don't see a lot of transparency like you once did.
Well, listen to this.
No.
Somebody's car, and you might find a piece of mail or an ID. You might say Jessica Paige. And also there were many things there, on the 14th, which I will get to here in just a second. And, so that's the 11th, that everything was already kind of spread out. And, man was going through her car, and they had his name redacted on the police report. When we had to ask them 3 times for the police report before they actually agreed to it. And this is still non-criminal, y'all. It will not turn criminal. They do not suspect any foul play. So they, they had the man's name blacked out. You couldn't see it. And they, as far as I know, they didn't question him any further, which is mind-boggling to me. They just, Officer Jenna Owen showed up on May 11th and saw a man going through Paige's things. And he said, looking for Jessica Kemp when she asked him what he was doing. And she thought that was normal. There's nothing strange about that, there's something very strange about that. So yeah, on the 14th, when they found, when they showed up for the missing persons report, they said that, her car was wide open. And we have a witness that was there when they were bagging, quotation marks, bagging everything up and labeling it for evidence. And man, they balled that tin up. They balled it up and threw it in the trunk of their cruiser. We've asked to simply see evidence, they will not allow us to do that. They are saying that it is still part of an ongoing investigation.
They should.
And if they need it for any kind of further leads or, to refer to in the future, they need it. And we just simply asked to look at it. We wanted to look at her car and see if there was anything that could give us a clue. But, it's just really rough when you're doing all you can to try to find somebody you love. We have given them multiple search and rescue affiliate. We've done the paperwork and gotten approved by affiliations such as Texas EQ Search, just for reference, that they do all kinds of search and rescue. They use all sorts of means for resources. And they have boats, they have drones, they have ATVs, trucks, they've got dogs, they have horses, mules, foot searchers, experienced people that know what they're doing. We've never searched for somebody. We've never had to do this. But the Greene County Sheriff's Office, man, they have been just completely nasty. We've been belittled, threatened, and dismissed. The unprofessionalism is just, it's unfathomable. They have zero compassion, and they absolutely refuse to communicate. They won't answer our phone calls, our text messages, or our emails, and they even threaten to close the case if we speak out. And that is for real. That is serious. And we've been fearful of speaking out on this because they threatened to close the case on my sister, Jessica Paige Kemp. We're out there, y'all, as much as we can be, as hard as we can be, nose to the grindstone. They said they've logged.
And there it is. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, it's just wrong.
What they told this missing girl's family. Let me replay that for you all and let that sink in a little deeper, okay? Let me replay that part. Let's go back 30 seconds.
My love. We have given them multiple search and rescue affiliate. We've done the paperwork and gotten approved by affiliations such as Texas EQ Search, just for reference, that they do all kinds of search and rescue. They use all sorts of means for resources. And they have boats, they have drones, they have ATVs, trucks, they've got dogs, they have horses, mules, foot searchers, experienced people that know what they're doing. We've never searched for somebody. We've never had to do this. But the Greene County Sheriff's Office, man, they have been just completely nasty. We've been belittled, threatened, and dismissed. The unprofessionalism is just, it's unfathomable. They have zero compassion, and they absolutely refuse to communicate.
That
Y'all are hearing
epitomizes
this.
law enforcement and the public's feeling towards law enforcement today.
Exactly.
It's not that they're known to do something wrong here, but it's just the whole attitude. And
Yes.
Yep.
it's just, and I hope that ain't disrespectful, but it's just
Right.
what I see everywhere.
And this man is saying this. Listen to this. Okay, pay attention to this part. This man is saying this while him and his family are actively out there searching for their loved one. Okay. He is saying that the cops would not work with them. And it's very apparent if you look at the search areas that the police did, they didn't even search where she went. Missing from, you guys. And what this man is saying just adds weight. It adds weight to it as much as, okay, I believe in the power of law enforcement in solving cases. I'm not against cops, but there's
neither am I at all.
I back the boys in blue. I have a bumper sticker on my car. You know what I'm saying? And I trust in police whenever I meet good cops and I see that they're doing good work. But this case feels icky.
It feels wrong. Yeah.
And it wouldn't take a whole lot more than just a positive, cooperative attitude with working with him, and just a little bit more, and you wouldn't feel that. Or you could dismiss some of it by, well, they're doing the best, whatever. I don't know. But then that attitude, you think, well, damn.
But instead, the police department comes out and snaps back at these families and says, we're doing everything we can, while they're telling, listen, this is the second time I have heard of law enforcement telling a family, if they didn't shut up and basically fall in line, that their loved one's case was going to be closed.
That's just wrong on every level.
Yes, it is.
Plain and simple. They're there to protect and service all, each and every one of us.
Yep.
Not to aggravate, harass, anger. That's just
and I hope and pray that Greene County is listening to this man's voice and what he's saying. He is telling you, Greene County, that he feels like y'all have not done your part and helped him or been professional. And instead of clapping back at this family And instead of denying this family and how this family feels, can't we come together? Is it impossible to come together with families and do active and proactive work for these families and work hand in hand with them? Is it too much to ask that we hold the people that we pay to solve these cases to a higher standard than if we annoy you, you are going to give up on our loved one's case and we are going to be left as a family without answers for the rest of eternity.
Yeah. And that's a sin that nobody should commit.
Exactly.
I mean,
Right.
we do bad things, but that ain't we can choose not to do that and never do it or never allow it to happen. We live in a country with resources. This stuff should not happen.
No, it really should not happen. I completely agree with you there. But we're going to listen to a little bit more, and then we're going to talk about how this ties into the other cases. The cases that I've been covering and other things that are going on, because this seems to be a real problem. I don't think people grasp it, but this is a serious, serious problem in Arkansas. Families are losing their loved ones with little to no answers. And as soon as they press law enforcement for answers,
there's
pushback.
There's pushback.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
They won't answer our phone calls, our text messages, or our emails, and they even threaten to close the case if we speak out. And that is for real. That is serious. And we've been fearful of speaking out on this because they threatened to close the case on my sister, Jessica Paige Kemp. We're out there, y'all, as much as we can be, as hard as we can be, nose to the grindstone. They said they've logged 200 hours in on the case. We kind of just did some math the other day, and not trying to belittle anything, but it's a simple fact. We have logged at this point well over 1,000 hours, and that is between 3 people that are directly out there every single day. And if we're not out there, we're somewhere else doing something else, flyers, talking to people, knocking on doors, trying to get any kind of leads we can. And that's rough to have to teach yourself how to be a detective, a search and rescue. It's just it's so exhausting. Every end of it, every aspect of it is something I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I don't have any enemies, but if I did, I wouldn't wish it on them. And something we worry about is
that's a tired man right there tonight.
Yes, it is.
Exhausted.
All
You
he's
can
giving,
hear it.
fighting his sister.
what's going to be left of us when all this is said and done. We're optimistic. We will bring.
Did you hear what he just said? What's gonna be left of us when all of this is said and done? What family should have to worry about what is going to be left of them whenever they have a loved one missing? That statement right there sums it up perfectly, in my opinion, of how I've seen a lot of families treated and how they feel.
Bring Paige home, but you can't keep your mind from doing what it does and wandering, and you speculate. And we've gotten so little facts on what's going on. We don't know what's going on. So we're out there kind of just blindly checking, searching, grid searching, mapping it out. We blow it up on the TV at night and go over it. And we all sit in the same room and we go over things together. We found a trail cam yesterday with a card in it. It's the first card we found, but it's one of the first things me and Peyton did when we got back. It was a macro, so you couldn't put it in the phone. We had to plug it into the laptop, and we went over that. Took over an hour, and we took notes. But it was just search and rescue type people out there. There was nothing suspicious at all. But that's just for for instance. And then after that, I've got to edit videos. I try to make it relevant on some social media platforms, and that has helped immensely. People sharing the story, that is the biggest help we have had, as well as people showing up out there and really coming together. I'd like to give a shout out to a family from yesterday. They showed up and they really made a difference. They're just some really good people, and that's what the world needs. And
civilians.
Yep, I feel him on that. I do.
Civilians found Jessica Paige Kemp. And this is something else this is another point I'd like to touch on real quick to community members. You guys, This is why it is so important for us as communities to come together and be willing to help these families in need. That's the reason I do search and rescue every opportunity I get, because I do see discrepancies in what law enforcement does. And I'm not saying that to belittle law enforcement. I'm saying it because I've seen it doing searches. And I realize these families need help. And civilians really can make a difference. People just
Yes.
going out there and volunteering their time, you guys, it makes a difference. This is living,
Yeah,
bona fide, certified proof of that.
that's right. We the people, for the people, by the people.
Yes.
We are the people.
That's right.
So, but I'm done with his video because I don't want to play everything. Because I highly respect Mr. Black. And again, you guys, this is Where's Jessica Paige Kemp, Arkansas Missing Persons, One Crime TV with Mr. Black. Okay. And again, I'm going to drop this description in the chat. And you guys, please go over there and subscribe to him and tell him I sent you.
He did
Okay.
a good job, a great job.
He did
Yes.
an excellent job. An excellent job. Now, Jennifer,
Yes.
your son was found in, and we're going to get into the case deeper, right? We're going to get into his actual case and an interview we're going to do. But your son was found after having experience run in with the cops, and he was found deceased.
Yes. Yes.
We had a conversation tonight about your son's case and about these other cases. And what is the one thing you told me that you wanted more than anything in your son's case?
I wanted answers.
Answers. And you're getting lashback and stuff from cops and things like that, and you
Yes.
got a cease and desist letter and everything else involving your
Yes.
son's case. But
Yes, I did.
but the thing you want is answers as a mother, right? As a family
Yep.
member.
That's it. That's it.
So you tell me about your experience with law enforcement and stuff in your son's case, and I hear a lot of these same things, that they don't give you, they don't
Oh
return your
yeah.
calls, they don't. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
They don't answer my FOIAs, my emails. I've done so many FOIAs. It's unreal. I've been trying to get his belongings since I received the autopsy, and that was 5 months into his case. So they ended up closing it, and I've still not yet gotten his belongings back.
Can you tell me, Jennifer? Can you tell me just give me a quick date, because I'm not aware of this your son's story, to be honest with you.
It was November the 3rd of 24.
Okay, so we're heading right close to a year here in another several months.
Yes, we're getting very close to it. He was chased by officers. He was on a four-wheeler. He was out late, but he was with my brother, his uncle, and his aunt.
And I guess they're out in the rural area, out in the woods.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
well,
Yes.
that's normal. We do that.
All of us did. I mean, we've even done it as adults while they were babies. And they
I
went
fish
with us.
usually full moon in July and August.
Yeah.
Whole
But he was chased by an officer. Body cam shows at a high rate of speed. We do not have a dash cam. You only got the body cam, so you can hear how fast it's going approximately. But you can body speed. And he admits in his statement that he was going 79 miles an hour chasing my son. Yeah. Which was very dangerous.
What was he suspected of doing so nefarious as to chase him? I mean,
we have no idea.
I mean,
well, the report is
I mean,
that he
they
was
got right.
chasing a. Wait. The report is that he was chasing a stolen 4-wheeler.
Yes.
Okay. And maybe there were some in there, you know, and they got a right to look into things, but
Right.
you would think they would use common sense.
But they knew who it was. It's a small town.
And you being in law enforcement guild, was any of that happened due to law enforcement relationship?
Yeah, he's been to our shop. Yeah. He's been to our shop, my husband's cousin's shop, where Trip has drove down to that shop while he was. He is well known.
Your microphone
You're
kind of
great.
roboting.
You're roboting so bad, Jennifer.
Can you hear me now?
It stopped.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah.
He lied on the report and said he didn't know who he was.
Yeah, they lied in the report saying they didn't know who it was, but on the call log, they were notified right during the chase of who it was. And then they are seen getting out of their vehicles and talking about my oldest son, that the sergeant knew him really well, but didn't know Trip that well. So you're acknowledging that it was Trip on the 4-wheeler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
not only does you worked for the, we're not trying to give out docs or anything, but you actually worked for a courthouse at one time. We'll just say that, right?
Well, I worked in the legal field for 2 lawyers. So
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But you worked for the legal system, okay? And
yes,
you've seen cases. I'm sure you've seen cases.
Oh yeah.
And so usually, do you yourself see better relationships with people, victims and the families and law enforcement? Or I mean, what's going on here? How does it go from my loved one was found and is possibly a victim to we're going to close your case if you don't shut up and fall in line? I mean, I don't understand how it gets to this point.
Yeah, I don't understand that part. I will say that when we were out there searching, it did, after the fact of where he was located and how he was located, it seems like we were deterred from possibly where he was. Because they loaded up the search dogs immediately after unloading them where in the area of where his phone last pinged.
Yeah.
They immediately loaded the dogs up and went to where he was found.
That is so
almost
weird.
like they knew it.
Right. That's what it makes me feel like. Yes.
But me telling what the cops done, they went to the county and got a trailer.
Well, yeah, I'm going to get back up to that. So the one sergeant went to the county to get a 4-wheeler trailer to come back and load the 4-wheeler up, because the officer makes the statement on body cam that he got the 4-wheeler, and that's all that matters. Didn't bother.
It wasn't their 4-wheeler to get in the first place.
Exactly.
I mean,
and knowing who it was, and there is somebody on that ship that has our phone number. Matter of fact, one of them called and said they've got Trip. And so, like I said, he called me and said, Mom, they've got the 4-wheeler. Come and get me. And I said, okay, I'm on my way. He said, my phone is about to die. And I said, okay, I've got your location. I'm on my way. He said, okay, I love you. Mm-hmm. He had talked to my husband, and my husband was like, okay, one of the officers we named off, he said that he's at the road, and walk up to him and turn yourself in, and we're on our way. And he said, okay, I'm working on it. He called my brother who he was riding with.
Yeah.
And told him that he was walking up to the road to turn himself in. And that's the last that we heard from him.
Yeah.
Wow.
In his autopsy, we'll just jump to it. His autopsy, he has bruises.
We got Jennifer. We got to save some of this for the live.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw bare bones. In other words, it was. I mean, Seems like there was some kind of animus against him to begin right off the bat before they
Right, because
got
his
to him.
body cam was turned off for 54 minutes, and then it comes back on after he's already touched this four-wheeler without gloves, and then now he turns his camera back on and he's got gloves on.
Yeah, I know all about the body cams when they first come out, and the federal government did it. My first cousin's my lawyer, and I had a situation where they went and they had a body cam, and I requested the body cam. Well, they had supposedly lost it. They searched my car and they found something a friend of mine had in there. Wasn't nothing big, but they tried to charge me with it. And I said, "You're not searching my car. I'm not giving you consent. You have no probable cause. I'm not doing nothing." I knew he probably had something, but they didn't have that probable cause. They did so, and they didn't have that body cam because I stood right up front of the car when they had me cuffed. And I said, "I am not consenting to a search." Well, the judge told me when at that trial, he said, "Y'all just got these cameras." He said, "You're going to, from now on, not going to decide when you can turn them on
Turn
or
them on
turn them
and
off."
turn them
He said,
off.
"You're going to keep them on. And not only that, you're going to keep these body cams in evidence all the way through trials and any and all appeals. You got it?" And he said, "If you don't, I'm throwing every case you come in here out."
Yes.
And that's exactly what he said. So help me God. And that's
Yeah,
been a long time ago.
Yeah, because when me and his dad, I mean, we had showed up. Oh God, I mean, we didn't live that far.
This selectively, though, turning it on and off. Oh, we ain't got that. We lost.
Yeah.
No, that's BS.
Well, and then the other thing that bothers me is that when we got to the scene, there were no officers out there, and we're screaming and hollering for Trip, and there's no answer. My brother had actually came out right before we did, while the officers were loading up the four-wheeler, and then they leave. And so he drives back to where they were loading it up at and hollers for Trip. No answer, no response, nothing. So
And
my
when he
thing
heard him, he would have come out of the woods.
right, because he knew that. I mean, he would. I mean, his aunt's dad is a state trooper, so he knew. You know, they know me. They know me.
They're not
going to hurt me.
Treat you with some courtesies that you might, others might. I'm not saying they're going
to
do anything wrong, but you're going to be treated with some courtesies that others may not.
Exactly. Yes. And so the officers left him out there, knowing that it was a juvenile, which did not make sense.
That seems negligent right there,
Exactly.
especially knowing that chasing him is running 70 miles an hour.
Yes. Yes. So we searched for about two hours without anybody out there.
I stayed out there for 36 hours straight.
Yeah, but the first.
I mean, you have to assume that running that fast, this kid could have wrecked and could be injured laying in a gully somewhere. We need to go make sure he ain't.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I would think.
That was my big
I agree with that.
thing that made me so mad was like, y'all left him out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we do have statements from several people that they saw the officer and the civilian riding with him, washing the four-wheeler off before they took it to the county and the back of his truck.
And they reported that this four-wheeler was in fact stolen.
Washing it off. Now, why do you need to wash this thing you just confiscated from?
Yeah.
There's maybe
well,
evidence.
here's my problem. Here's my entire problem with it, right? In the state of Arkansas, if there is any kind of accident involving a wheeled vehicle, they are supposed to call in the state troopers to do a crime scene report. I mean, a vehicular
incident
report.
Yes.
And none of that was done.
Well, they were out of the loop. They were out of the loop for that bunch, and they didn't want to have to try to swing them in and convince them to go along with their whatever.
Right.
Yes.
So, but you guys, I really don't want to give everything off.
Now, I don't either. I just wanted to know the bare bones because I didn't know a whole lot of anything. And that, you covered enough that I've got an idea. And I will go up. Can I go online and pull up some information? Will it be a little bit?
Yeah.
I will, believe me.
Will be.
Regina
Will be.
Yeah.
Will be. If you will actually look in our Discord,
yeah,
there is a whole chat a room dedicated to Trip with everything in it.
Believe me, I will devour every piece of information in there and then some.
Yep.
Yes.
Like the reports, all of that is all on my Discord server. And check this out, everyone listening. For those of you that don't know, I have a Discord. There is a link in my post. If you'll go look at my community post here on YouTube, Go look at my community post, and there's actually a link that everyone is welcome to join my Discord. But please make sure you check the rules before you go enter chat.
Yeah.
Because if you come in there and you start, trouble in chat and stuff, and attacking any of the other people in chat, or causing problems, I'm sorry, but you can't stay.
Yep.
And we don't do drama in the Discord. We only do true crime. But if you're interested in true crime, think about liking and subscribing, and maybe even sharing the video. Because listen, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. I'm here to try to help families find answers. Okay.
And find that peace and solace they have
Right.
lost.
And listen, there are going to be times investigating these cases, and I already know this, that we might come up empty handed at the end of
Yep.
the day. That's a
Oh,
possibility. Okay.
there'll be
As
many
sad
times.
as sad as it is, that is a possibility in every case. And there's going to be cases that at the end of the day we're going to look into and be like, okay, so this is what happened. But there's also going to be these kind of cases that we look into, that we have to acknowledge, you guys, that families are being told, if you don't shut your mouth and play ball, I am going to close your loved one's case.
Well, in Discord, we can do voice chats or voice calls together, and it's in privacy, and you know what I
Yes.
mean? It's not out here like we are right now at all.
Yes.
It's just us.
Went and left here 2 weeks after the fact.
Yeah, that
And
was a
I would
big
love
red.
to get in there one night with both of you, all of us again, and
Yeah.
just shoot.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, that was another big red flag, that the 2 weeks after this happened, the officer quit here and went to a different county.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you know what? That happens more than you think, and
Yeah.
they don't always send the resume ahead with the things that that person was not good at and had a reputation for not doing well.
Exactly. Yes.
They'll push them off somewhere.
Yes.
So, Jennifer, we have a lot of work to do, especially before Friday,
Yes.
before we do the live stream. You guys, I appreciate you being here so much. This has been amazing.
It's been real good, Virginia. You've done a heck of a job.
Well, I just look.
That's what I tell her. She's a godsend.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. You guys, I couldn't imagine being a family out here left with these kind of questions, and especially being treated this way by law
Not having
enforcement,
nobody you could talk
and not
vent that
having
to.
anyone there to help me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not one of these people going to go out and like scream in the streets with a bullhorn and cause a disturbance of the peace. But I am someone that is going to do the best I can to help families get information through FOIA requests, through doing research on cases and stuff like that, and trying to help with resources, to help these families that just want these answers. You guys, I'm sorry, but I do not think it is too much to ask for law enforcement to do their jobs and give us transparency on these cases.
Be accountable.
Yeah.
And be accountable.
I mean,
I just don't. I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that it's wrong to exhaust every resource to get that information, so that at the end of the day, you know what?
We all benefit.
The idea should be, instead of, telling people we're going to close their cases just to move them through, at the end of the day, if police want better public relations with people and families, what's going to happen is cops are going to have to be transparent with the loved ones.
Yeah.
Okay. They are going to have to be expected to do their jobs, which is to solve these crimes and to help prevent it, right?
Yes.
And to serve and protect the people in the community. And telling a family that you're going to close their case if you don't shut up and leave them alone is not serving the public. It's self-serving the interest of the police force.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Got a long road ahead of us to get there. I know that.
That's just my opinion of it.
Yeah.
So, you guys, we have been live. Y'all are not going to believe this, but we've been live for 3 hours.
I didn't think we'd get that long, but every minute has been exciting and interesting.
It has.
It has been not one boring segment. I didn't think.
No.
Well, thank you, Wilby.
I mean, I'm being honest, and we hadn't got that many viewers, but we'll get some. We'll get this thing was out to more people, and
Yeah.
and some of them people might, know media and start getting the media is where you're going to get some movement because they
Exactly.
can't run from the media. They can run from us a little bit, but you get the media and the camera and the News 2 or News 12, whatever you news in their eye, somebody that really cares, just ask questions. They're going to have to answer them.
I completely 100% concur, Tiniest Squish. I agree, Connie. Picking through details and having compassion for families is how all these cases should be handled.
Yep.
I completely concur.
Absolutely.
So with that said, you guys, please like and subscribe and remember to share this video. Because these are not, listen, y'all know my story. Y'all know about Robert Brasher's, my parents went to prison for murder. Y'all know it all, right? It's because I've been affected by both innocent people being accused and I've been affected by a guilty person getting off of the hook in my life. I can see it from both sides, right? I can see it from both sides. And the thing is without sharing our stories, if this is going on, if there is corruption, if there is lying, if there is cases and things being covered up, the only way to bring it to the light and cause change is to share it and talk about it. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a crime chat, right?
Yep.
So thank you so much, Jennifer and Gil, for being here. You guys are
Absolutely.
amazing.
It's nice meeting y'all, and God bless y'all, and pray for y'all and that family, Jessica's family.
Yes.
We don't know this her, but let's be honest, we could be wrong, but
it is.
Either way,
It would be reasonable. I will say this: it would be reasonable to possibly suspect it is her that they found.
That's right.
But we do not know that as factual yet.
But either way, her family's going through hell tonight.
Yes, they are.
Because they don't know. And that not knowing is why these families are here.
What her brother did, the time he spent in the last 30 days, the hours.
That is love.
To be approaching.
That is love. That is some. Let me tell you something. If you got someone out there searching for you every day because you're missing, it's because you are loved.
Yeah, he manned up.
Yep.
We had over 1,000.
That's the way I was raised.
We sat there so long we dehydrated.
Yeah,
That's right. Oh man, emotionally
but,
and physically too.
Yes,
emotionally and physically.
Yep.
One of them's tough. Both of them on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, you guys, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end the live. Y'all are welcome to stay in here for a few minutes and chat afterwards.
I'm going to jump out because I've got to go feed my cat. He's about to jump on the back of a chair. And
Wilby, you better go take care of him.
Oh, listen, he has got claws long. I hadn't got him cut yet. He's about 6 months old. He's got claws longer than a 3/0 hook. And when he
Wilby,
he panics, he falls off. He claws down in, it hurts. Yeah.
Wilby, don't cut his claws.
No, I got a friend who
get a grinder, a pet nail grinder. Yeah, because cutting them will hurt them.
No, I got some professional gonna cut them. She used to be the president of the Humane Society, but she just missed it. Last Tuesday. She missed it, and she hadn't got back with me. She will.
I'm real big on animals, especially cats, keeping their defense weapons.
Oh yeah. Just not quite the last 1/8 of an inch, 6th, whatever. She's gonna come cut them. I guarantee you. But they're getting cut.
So with that said, go ahead, Wilby.
Good night, everybody. I'm gonna jump off here. It's been fun, and I will see y'all again in Discord or in here. So y'all have a good one.
Wilby, I enjoyed having you so much. I always do. You're so insightful
absolutely,
and ask such amazing questions.
This was a good thing. All right, I'll see you guys. Good night.
Night.
See you later, Wilby. Bye.
All right, Miss Regina.
Are you gonna head out too?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you were or not. So, Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. We are going to. We have a planned interview here Friday. We haven't set an exact time yet, but we are going to be going over your son's case, and I'm going to be interviewing you Friday. and sharing some
That
things,
will work.
about his case, and speaking about it. And tomorrow, everyone, remember, thank you so much, Jennifer, for being here. And Gil, you have a blessed night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too,
Thank you,
man. It
Gil.
was nice talking to y'all.
It was amazing talking to you too. Thank you. It always is, Gil.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye, you guys. I'm gonna put you down, Jennifer, but you ain't gotta leave. Okay. So everyone, as you can see, and I'm not saying that there's absolutely anything nefarious going on. I cannot say that there is something nefarious going on. But what I can say is there are more unanswered questions than I can count in Jessica Paige Kemp's disappearance. We have family finding her clothes and her belongings strewn across the campgrounds and area around the campgrounds. We have a month-long search whenever she was just right there the whole time without her being found. We have her calling and reporting to police that there was someone around and under her car and in her campsite. And we have police coming out before we even know what happened to her saying there's no foul play suspected, before there's even been a thorough investigation. This is another case we have heard family members come out and say, you know, or the cops come out and say, my family member was schizophrenic or having a mental or on drugs or this, that, or the other. But at the same time, if they thought that she was hallucinating someone around and under her vehicle, why did they cancel that ambulance? I have so many questions. I don't know if they have found Jessica Paige Kemp, but what I do know is her family is out there heartbroken and so upset at the situation because they don't even know yet. And they, at the same time, they have to wonder if it's her. So I would just like for us all to keep them in our prayers and in our thoughts. And if you go to their Facebook page, help us find Jessica Paige Kemp, please share your support with them because they could really use it at this time. We all need to lift each other up. God gave us two hands to help, right? Two hands to help, not one. So, with that said, you guys, remember to lock your windows and doors because it is crazy out here. There are dangerous people in this world. And in the beautiful words of what is true, share a smile and save a life because you never know. The life you save might just be your own. And with that said, you guys, blessings and good night.